6 o'clock. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Thursday night football, great divisional game as the Lions outlast the Packers 34-31. Jared Goff tossing 3 touchdowns, 2 to Tim Patrick, 1 to Jahmyr Gibbs. The Lions clinch a playoff spot, move to 12-1. The Packers fall to 9-4. Bill Belichick won 6 Super Bowl championships with the New England, and he has been having discussions with North Carolina about the Tar Heels head coaching job. UNC fired Mac Brown on November 26 after 6 seasons with the Tar Heels. The 73-year-old Brown, a college football Hall of Famer, was in his second stint with the school. Belichick, only a year younger than Brown, who was the oldest coach in FBS this season. And the Titans back in Nashville this weekend, taking on the Jaguars. All your regular pregame festivities with Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Kayla Anderson, Blaine Bishop, Brad Hopkins, Buck Rising. After that, the Titans radio crew gets you ready with everything you need to know before kickoff at noon. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on for your Friday morning on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon, Kayla, and Will on your radios the morning after a lovely company Christmas party. 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with a star-studded Football Friday lineup as always. Brent Hubbs, Mike Keith, Ron Slay. We'll talk Titans. We'll talk SEC Championship, recruiting headlines out of Knoxville. We will hit it all for you with only 4 hours to do it. It is Friday, December the 6th. Good morning. How are we doing?
We're doing good. And we got off to a good start because everybody who walked in the door this morning in the studio put in the biggest force possible to open this big door that we have, soundproof door, right? And I got to see both your reactions. I don't know if Bert saw mine, but everybody had, I feel like, the same reaction as we went to go push the door hard, and we just flew right through because the door has been hinged.
It's been fixed. It had a lot of resistance, like I think all of this week and last week. I don't know what changed, but you really had to push to open the door. And somehow, some way, it has been loosened back up. So, did not have to use same foot, same shoulder as much this morning.
I'd love a video, though, that was like a secret video that showed all of it, because I feel like it was one of those moments that everybody had the same reaction. As
many cameras we got in here, I kind of wish they would have been running on that. Yeah, no doubt about it. But I don't know if we call it fixed or just like
it's fixed.
That's the way we like it. Yeah. That's the way we like it now.
Absolutely.
All right, for sure.
So we're up and going this morning after Christmas party. That was fun.
Yeah, that was cool. I enjoyed you guys. A lot of people from other stations I never ran into.
I know.
I finally met Zach for the first time. Zach
I did
Lyons.
too.
Yeah.
I had never met him either.
Yeah, no, that was like my first time. Like I told him last night, I listened to the show while I'm doing work at home and stuff like that. Like him and Blaine are on my laptop or desktop when I'm at home. People still have desktop these days?
Some do.
They do?
Yeah,
I do?
Absolutely.
All right, I do. Okay, well, it's on the desktop at home, and I never actually ran into him. He said we actually met before, I think, through Buck's show. Listen.
You're like.
Hard flex by Ramon at 6:04 this morning. I meet so many people in my line of work. I just, I might not remember you when I meet you, but, you'll remember me. Don't you worry.
To be fair, he said it was like in a quick passing, though, too. So it was probably like, hey, okay, how you doing? And then just keep on moving. Like, not an official,
hey, I'm Ramon.
introduction. Hey. Last night, we exchanged numbers and everything. I got to send him my cell phone.
That's how actually Titans offensive linemen meet people now. Quick passing.
There we go.
Titans are passing. They'll just breeze by them real quickly. And then the Titans players don't remember.
Hey, man. Listen, well, we don't need that to be the case this upcoming weekend for them, then. They got to put, MPF got to put a better product out there again. First weekend without a sack last week, so hey.
Build on it.
Will with the chuckle right there. Will with the chuckle.
Oh, by the way, Zach's wife she's a Michigan fan. So we got into the conversation about Ohio State, Michigan. And I thought it was hilarious, too, because Detroit had won that weekend too, so she was talking about how big of a weekend it was and how her whole family was there to watch Ohio State go down.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's another one.
Let's go.
Check the box.
Check the box. We appreciate her team's efforts is what we're saying, too. Absolutely appreciate her team's efforts. By the way, we ran into what starts with a J. JS is his initials. Used to work here.
I'm not familiar with anyone who worked here with those initials.
Jeremiah.
JJ?
Jeb.
Juju.
Juju.
No. I think it was Julius.
Julius.
Yes.
Schaefer? What's
Yes.
Yeah,
Schaefer last name.
I think so.
Like Schefter?
Schefter.
Julius Schefter.
Maybe that's how his brother Adam learned about you.
Maybe
Probably.
so. Maybe so.
Yeah.
We ran into our guy Shafe last night, man. It was good to see
I
him.
forgot that he is still, I knew this, but I did forget
know.
that he was still in the Cumulus family.
He's in the family
With
still.
Big D and Bubba.
I was messing with him last night. I said, hey, show me your boys, man. Let me go knock them up in the corner real quick for taking you.
Right?
He was like, what?
Give
I
him a
was
body
like,
punch.
No, I did want to meet those dudes, though, but I didn't get a chance. Shafe never
didn't either.
officially introduced me, so I guess I'm down the friend totem pole now, huh, Shafe? Get it. But it was a good time last night, man.
It was fun.
I enjoyed seeing everybody there. I think everybody checked that box of showing up at least for a little bit.
For sure.
Good times, though. Good vibes, too. It was my first non-football business Christmas party, too, by the way.
Look at you going all corporate.
I
That's
know,
so wild
man.
to think.
You know, I mean, we've had Christmas parties before with the Steelers, and they really put it up pretty good. Bring Santa Claus out. The
I
kids,
can't imagine.
they get good gifts, too. Like it's like they're close to giving iPads out whenever they go see Santa at like the Steelers Christmas party. Like it was some real cool stuff. And I was just really tripping, like, okay, this is a different one. There's alcohol here? Yeah. All right.
And then
All you
who are
need
you
is
have?
drink tickets?
The Steelers Christmas party this year is just a football game on Christmas.
It is.
Yeah.
There's a football game being played at your party this year.
I know. One of our teammates here, Jawan.
Just drop a beat real
Which
quick.
Jay is this?
Come on, it was a late night. Let's go. Let's wake it up.
I ain't even
Boys
had
and
no
girls,
coffee
come on.
yet, man. I ain't even had no coffee yet, but he is a young fella. I keep with the us. I sound like I'm going back.
See, now you're thinking about it.
I know. Now I'm thinking
Milli
about it.
Vanilli with the discount. Come on, let's go.
I need to stop doing
At
that.
least
Bird
we
ain't
have an
woke up
excuse. We
yet.
had no sleep.
He hasn't woke up yet, and I don't need him saving anything. Okay. With that being said,
Pulling the mic over.
I know. Don't do this, Bird. But either way, young Jawan, man, he does photography and stuff here at the station. He's a Steelers fan, so he wanted to talk a little bit about
I
it
feel
last
like
night.
every person I run into randomly is a Steelers fan.
It's just part of Nashville. Will says
No, it's
a lot
not.
Of,
No,
yeah, it is.
it's
It
not
is
part of Nashville. It's part of America. Those same people are Yankees fans. These same people are cheering for. Well, I can't say the Lakers anymore because I am also
Right,
now a
you are a
bandwagon
Lakers
Lakers fan.
fan.
These same people are Warriors fans. It's fine.
Yeah, no, but he was nervous about the Christmas Day part. I mean, Christmas Day game. So I'm just like, nah, it's a football game. Sit back and enjoy yourself. Yeah. What
out.
are
That's
you
all the first
stressing
time you
for?
told me
Wow.
that.
Yeah. Speaking of which, worrisome. Oh my gosh! I think most of All Nation was I mean, like all this week until
That
something
was
happened.
wild
Until something
yesterday,
happened
yeah.
yesterday, and we'll get to that throughout the course of
Yeah,
the
David
week.
Sanders became a Vol.
It became a Vol.
Went on Feinbaum and went on, more importantly, 3HL right after.
They'll have to give the break. That was a nuts, like on how he got on the show. Somebody pulled a major
It's a
flex
funny story.
yesterday.
Right?
It's a funny story. Slay will be here at 9:20 this morning. Voice the Titans, Mike Keith at 8:20 and Brent Hubbs at 7:20. Hubbs, of course, in about an hour will have the behind the scenes look into how it happened, as he always does with us. And you guys are insiders when you listen to him at 7:20. But it's just nice that Tennessee is competent enough to where they have one of these recruiting sagas that ends with the guys still picking Tennessee. Because I feel like when these weird ones happen, they often just go somewhere else. And then B, they controlled the message. They kind of understood, I think, that maybe there was a little bit of anxiety out of Tennessee fans. Tennessee fans and anxiety? Never.
No.
Never the
And
same
so they went on
No,
Feinbaum,
Kayla.
controlled the message, and everybody feels better about the whole situation.
What a flex by the young man. Here I was talking about signing my letter of intent through a fax machine and doing
Well,
it.
he did too. He just maybe that fax machine was at the SEC Network headquarters. I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It was. Here I was in the foyer of my high school. He's on Feinbaum. That was what a flex that was. Love that for that kid.
I was listening to. I didn't listen the exact moment that it happened, but then I heard about it and I was listening after, and Feinbaum was like, we never usually do anything like this. Like, this is not like a normal thing. So that was pretty cool to have that done on his show for sure.
I'm gonna be real with y'all. I got a slight headache this morning. Okay,
I'm stuffed up. I sound like
I do too. Like
manly.
Yeah, I mean. Feeling it this morning a little bit.
Yeah. I didn't even drink that much, and I'm feeling it.
I'm so sorry.
What happens is this: you walk into the party, last night, and the same group of friends, of coworkers that we had out in LA at the Run Slate party, Babs, Mr. Babs, Harder, I'm not even going to call him Mr. Babs no more. Bert was there, Buck was there, Grace was there, and they just decided we're going to do LA all over again.
So you did shots?
We didn't do shots, but all I know is we had 3 drink tickets.
Yes.
Free drink tickets. And somehow the Pied Piper himself was leaned over the bar, Ron Slade. And I just said to myself, I know he ain't
I know that wallet is not coming out of his pocket. There ain't no way. That finely creased bill that is in that billfold is going to still be finely creased.
No,
is not getting crumpled up.
And all he kept saying, Savage, what are you drinking? You want to know? I'm just like, bro. Some of us have a morning show to do, okay? Mm-hmm. Bert, did he try to attack you in these ways too?
You can't attack me with that kind of stuff. I just enable it.
That's what I was going to say.
With it.
Hey, all I was just thinking is like, okay, this is the life of people that don't get up early in the morning.
I know.
Man.
It's a different world, man.
It was. I got to go find some allegiance.
Some of us are built different. We're fine. AKA we're young enough to still not feel pain.
Well, wait till you're in your 30s.
Yeah, I'm built different. I'm not concerned.
And I was trying to have one drink and 2 waters. I was chasing it with water last night.
Mix in a water, you're good to go.
Yeah, I was good
Mix
to go.
in a water.
It was a grand old time.
Right.
I'm proud of the team, man. It was some real good stuff last night.
615-737-1045 is our number. How important is Sunday's game for the Tennessee Titans? If you're out there and you don't really care, you're thinking, all right, this is a game where the loser benefits more, gets the number 1 overall pick. Maybe we agree with that. Spoiler alert, we probably don't. But we're going to tell you why Sunday's game matters to the Titans. Also hear from Colt Anderson, who had some interesting comments yesterday about what he's learned this season. That's next as our Football Friday gets started here in Hour 1 on 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foss for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Y'all, Hiller's Cash for the Holidays is back. They are giving away cash for the holidays with select purchases like a $500 Visa gift card when you buy a select new HVAC system or new whole home generator. They're also giving you $250 Visa gift cards when you buy a new tankless water heater. These deals are available until the end of the year, so go to Happy Hiller today to schedule your visit.
What's going on, guys? Bert and Ramon here to tell you about the original hot chicken, and that's Prince's Hot Chicken. And if you ain't got no Christmas spirit, it's where you need to go. All weekend, all month, Prince has got stuff going on.
No doubt about it, Bert. Like the Ugly Sweater competition on December 5th, which is the day, all right, and the 12th, man. You can also go have breakfast with Santa. We were just talking about the big red man, man. Listen, go take the kids to go see Santa, have some breakfast, and they'll also probably have a good bit of those fixings that me and Bert speak about this time of the year, man. Now through December 13th, too, they are hosting Prince's Hot Chicken is hosting a coat drive, all right, for coats for Keelan, man. You can drop off a newer, gently used coat at the Tanger Outlets of Nolensville location. And also it is the holiday season. Y'all know that, man. Get over to princeshotchicken.com to check out their catering menu. Whether you are a carnivore like me and myself, my friends, and everybody else, or you're a vegan or vegetarian, they have options for everybody, man. Again, get over to Princess Hot Chicken to one of the 5 locations around the city, man. And make sure you tell them Ramon and Bert sent you.
RKW 104.5 The Zone, kicking off your football Friday. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. Robert Walsh is our producer. Getting ready for Titans and Jags. Little old school AFC South rivalry for the people on Sunday. It is one of those that does still feel like a legitimate rivalry. This is a team we want to beat, just for the sole purpose of you always want to beat the Jags.
Yeah, you do. You always want to beat your rivals. You want to beat everybody, but when it's close like that and you got a long history of them trying to beat you down as much as they possibly can, and just the pride of it. Like, sports has a whole lot of pride in how you go about your teams, is what I've learned. Like, you can never tell a person how much they should love or hate their team at whatever time, whatever phase they're in. You know, Kayla,
let them hate whenever.
The Jags is one of those teams that this fan base hates. So
they do.
Embrace it.
It's kind of one of those too that in the past several years, when you had Derrick Henry, you always had the storyline of, Derrick Henry dominating against them, even when he went down there, being close to his hometown of Yulee. Now you hope to kind of build another storyline in terms of how you beat the Jags, and hopefully they can get that started at home here on Sunday. Who will be the person that kind of wills them to victory? Because despite them not having a great season, we've spoke about how close they've been to winning games. They're in all these games, right? They're close to one-score games almost every time.
Right,
so it's not like a sleepwalk through this week. These guys, in terms of the Titans, have to be prepared for everything that they're going to hand them, including Mac Jones, who's going to start at quarterback. So who's going to will them to the win? That's what I'm kind of excited to see.
What's your mindset if you're Mac Jones this upcoming weekend, Kayla?
Yeah.
It's go. Show the world that, like, I still got it, right?
It is, because we've seen all these other quarterbacks do it. We've seen, the Sam Darnolds and I've mentioned all the time, the Geno Smiths. I could probably find all these other ones that are, Jameis Winston's a starter right now.
I'm sure Trey Lance won't. Yeah, you're right. He is too. Yep.
So it's his chance to say, hey, I can be a starter in this league too, and this is why. Because I've sat back, I've learned, and now maybe I can help another team.
Yeah.
So yesterday, Colt Anderson, Titans special teams coach, asked about what he has learned this year, gave one of the more eyebrow-raising answers I think I've heard from a Titans person all season. Did you guys hear this yesterday?
I did not. You mentioned something at the Christmas party last night, and I was just like, what?
Colt Anderson on what he has learned as a coordinator this year.
No, just technique, just, working with these guys, just making sure we're all on the same page, communicating on the same level at that point. But, just being confident in what I'm doing and making sure the guys there's clarity in everything that we're doing. Early in the year, you could probably say that I was assuming guys knew what they were doing. So I felt like I, have learned, how guys learn in certain situations, and, we're going to continue to grow and get better.
Early in the year, you could say I was assuming I knew what people were doing. This would work if the Titans had been getting better at special teams. Yeah. But they're still making a lot of the same mistakes.
Yeah,
week to week. So I don't what's changed? Well, not really anything. They still stink at special teams.
Yeah, and the assumptions too. Like that is one of those things, man. When you speak about assuming that guys are going to do the right thing, like I assume every single day that my kids are the best kids that I've ever raised to walk out of my house. You know what I'm saying? I assume if I give my son $5 to go to the store, he probably gonna get some water instead of like a Sprite, a Snicker bars, and a bag of chips like I used to do as a kid. Like, be better than me are the things that I would say. You can't assume in this league. Like, what I've learned about athletes, young men in this league, even vets, man, look, they'll go as far as they want themselves to go if you allow them to. And the assumption that guys just get it, no. I was one of those guys where you had to tell me, then we had to walk through it. Then we had to do it at a fast pace. And then, you know what? In the game, I probably would do it and mess it up, and then I'd have it. Like, the assumption of executing a job, man, is something you as a coach have to, reinforce day after day. This is why, of course, we see for him being a special teams coach. Let's just use that one. him being a special team coach, we've ever seen those special team coaches on the sideline, most of them are crazy. And I'm talking about like dog crazy.
Jumping up and down. Yeah, they're
just
high energy guys.
Quirky as heck, right? They're different. And here's the other unique thing about what Coach Anderson has on his plate, too. Like, as a special team coach, it's one of the most unique coaching positions in the world because they're the only position coach or coordinator that has to coach every single guy on the team, from linemen to linebackers to safeties to cornerbacks to running backs and linebackers, right? So you have to be able to communicate and reinforce to those different dudes in different types of ways. And that's something that if he's saying it out loud, that he's assuming certain things, that just it shows a little bit of like the disconnect. Like, we can go all the way back now to Chicago, right? The blocks that was happening like early in the season.
Yep.
Like, you thought that he knew what he was doing. Like, how much do you drive that home to him? How much do you put an emphasis on the small details? Because those plays happen so quick. They happen quick in general in football anyway. But like on special teams, all those coaches on the other side are trying to do, Will and Kayla, is show you where your weaknesses are. And you can't assume that my guys got this. You know, and that's, I ain't gonna say it's disheartening to hear. It's just you never really hear that.
Yeah, I'm going to push back a little, and I hear what you guys are saying on that, but I will say this. First and foremost, Colt comes from a special teams background. He played in the NFL, so he obviously has learned a certain way throughout his career and was successful at it. He goes to Cincinnati. He is under Darren Simmons, who is one of the tenured special teams coaches in the league, has been there since 2013. I think is pretty highly regarded there as a special teams coach. So when you're at one place learning at your first job as a coordinator or a assistant to the coordinator is what he was there in Cincinnati for special teams, you are learning certain things one way and you have a certain personnel that you are working with, right? So I think why I don't completely blame Colt Anderson in this whole situation, while he has had obviously mishaps and he has said some things sometimes as a first-time coordinator that we are like, oh, taken aback by, because it is a learning thing for him as well. Who gave him the opportunity? It's Brian Callahan. And Brian Callahan knew that he came with not a lot of experience as an actual coordinator. He had, yes, learned under guys. He had played, but now he has given him a whole different type of personnel. You are learning a lot of things on your own as well to try to figure out exactly what type of guys you have to work with. We've seen that some of those guys didn't work, and they've had to flip-flop and bring in new guys. So I look at this for Colt Anderson, and I'm not saying this is the right way to ever do it, but I'm thinking for him, he was put in this spot, and it was like you're learning on the spot pretty much as a special teams coordinator. I'm not saying that was the right thing to do.
Sure.
But Brian Callahan provided him with the opportunity. For me, this is more on Brian Callahan to say, hey, look, Colt, this, like, we've really got to sit down and digest exactly what's going on. Clearly, he sees something in Colt still.
Unfortunately.
That he feels like this can be something moving forward they can be better at. Because I've heard Blaine and them talk, too. And Blaine and them, Blaine and Zach cover, too. He feels like if personnel is more to blame in this situation than just solely Colt Anderson.
I mean, when the personnel's making mistakes, though, over and over and over and over, it's got to be the coach, right?
Yeah, I mean, a part of it is, absolutely, because he is learning on the spot.
Yeah, but so is Brian Callahan, and his offense isn't this bad. I mean, how much time do you get to learn on the spot until we learn that you just don't have it?
I mean, Callahan was an offensive coordinator before this, though.
Sure. He's never been a play caller, though, at this level. Like, to me, my problem with what Colt Anderson is saying here is that, like, a lot of these issues have happened since week 8.
Yeah.
Like, the Detroit Lions game was week 8. You can't come to me and say, like, oh, I was learning. I assume guys knew what they were doing early. Well, week 8's not early. Week 8 is you're approaching the midway point of the season. Week 10 against the Chargers, Darius Davis takes a kickoff back 56 yards to set up a touchdown by Quentin Johnston. Extends the Chargers' lead to 10 at that point. Week 12 in Houston, 80-yard kickoff return by Dameon Pierce. Was that when you were assuming everyone knew what they were doing? Colt, probably not. That's week 12. Well, week 13. Jaquan Jackson's fumbling yesterday, which Colt says fumbling is different than muffing, and he views those things different. The ball's getting put on the ground either way. Colt Anderson is talking himself into circles in these press conferences consistently, and maybe it's time for them, if they're going to keep him, to just have the offensive and defensive coordinators talk, because I feel like it's just getting worse every time he goes to the microphone right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. I see somebody in the chat, I think AJ said, he was somewhat saying that his guys aren't good enough, which is even worse, too, to me. I think, I know talent, like, there's different tiers to it. There is. Like, I get that, too. But you have to work with what you're given at times, too. Like, there's a lot of times we see in, Saturday morning basketball leagues, right, where some teams are just not talented. You see the little boys and girls out there, it's like, ooh, but you coach them. And that's, to me, is the one thing that is your job as it pertains to the amount of talent that these coaches or your GMs or front office give you, is work with it and make something out of it. And to say that they're not good enough, all right, I'll give you just a little bit of grace, but what are you doing to actually teach them to be good enough? Because as it pertains to just how you go about getting the best out of guys, like, there needs to be a method in place that you believe in. If you don't know that, okay, I get it as a first-year coach, but still, you can't make these excuses, though. That, to me, is where it becomes very problematic, because if you're telling me you don't know how to coach those guys who may be of lesser talent, right, with what you've been provided with, then make them better. That's also that side of it, too. Like, create an atmosphere to where details are at the top of everything you're going to do day in and day out. It's just inexcusable when that is, and I think we all sometimes forget, like, there are three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams.
It's a third of the game.
And if the special teams is giving up the hitting yardage, which as much can be said about it, as far as like what the defense gave up last weekend in Washington, like, special teams contributed to that in a sense, right? Having to have the conversation over and over again about what you want Ryan Stonehouse to do. Okay, I need more air. Like, if you knew he was a boomer of a punter to where he get more distance than he does air, those are things that have to be done in practice so that we don't have to coach those things on game day to where guys are getting the ball on a low line and running it quick because you can't get down there on coverage. Like, these are the conversations that have to happen, and sometimes you got to make guys do certain things that they're not comfortable with, too.
Yeah, right? I just think it's a situation where we can beat this down as much as we want. And, it is, because every week there is something going on. And I understand that. But I think that it is a thing where Brian Callahan is going to stick with him till the end of the season, whether people like it or not. That's, I think, what's going to happen. And whether or not he brings him back, that's going to be a lot of reevaluating that has to be done, because you've only got a few more games left. And I don't know how much more you can really get better. Like, you can see little improvements, right? But like we've always mentioned, there's always something. So I don't know what that will be, but I do feel like the rest of the season, it is going to be him. So I think we're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. But unique, like, that's a unique position to be in as a coach. Yeah. It's hard to say, like, deal with it, because, again, the hidden
but
yardage.
That's what it is, But
as a coach, though, saying what he said yesterday,
Callahan fires him.
It was just kind of flagrant. Like,
no, I'm saying deal with the fact that he is going to be the guy for the rest of the season.
And I get that, too, to keep cohesion together. Like, and if he was smart, the same way we said, like, Will Levis is trying to fight his way out of the ditch that he dug, like, he's got to do that, too. Like, there has to be somewhere in his special teams where, I'm being real with you, like, a block is going to be had. Like, a long return needs to be had.
The fumble they forced against the Texans is really their one moment that they've had all year where they contributed to the game in a positive way. They've done nothing positive to impact the game other than that one play.
I got another one. Nick Folk.
I was going to say,
Nick Folk is his own.
That's his own.
But if we're going to give Jaquan Jackson and put Colt Anderson on the Jaquan Jackson, technically Nick Folk is part of
Colt Anderson doesn't get any credit for Nick Folk.
So
the organization gets credit for Nick Folk making kicks and bringing it back, but Colt Anderson's not teaching Nick Folk how to kick a football. But he's 40 years old. He's older than the head coach.
That to me feels like you said, Nick Folk, like, he does his own thing as far as, like, how much of a veteran he is. Like, the things that have happened on Colt Anderson's special teams is just been so just fumbles, Jaquan Jackson fielding the ball at like the 4-yard line, which puts the offense a bad situation, right? Yep. The block punts that have happened, just the field positioning that you don't have at times. Like it's those things are more glaring when it's that position. I will say the special teams unit of the game.
Yeah,
I will. One more thing I want to say on the Jaquan Jackson though, because there was a interesting situation with him yesterday in the locker room, with just trying to get his point of view. But just like Kyle Phillips, guys, he had chance after chance after chance. I don't think that was a coaching thing with Kyle Phillips. I think that was a personnel thing in terms of him as a player. And if Jaquan Jackson continues to do those things, I think that that's a player thing as well.
Yeah, look,
he's put the ball on the ground 5 times.
I'll always put the player's ownership on it, but also as a coach,
they keep putting him out there.
What are you doing in practice?
Who's really in charge of that though? Is that Callahan essentially that keeps putting him out there?
I think they both share blame on that.
Yeah, they do share blame on it. But are you going to fire the head honcho?
No.
Well, no.
Not over somebody muffing punts. But
that's the thing.
We'll see if he's out there this weekend because they haven't been clear on that yet.
Mentioned Tyler Boyd and Mason Kinsey as other internal options to field punts.
Tyler Boyd and Kinsey.
Boyd will catch it.
Yeah.
The fact that we're having this conversation, you know what I'm saying, says a lot about
it's Groundhog Day.
What we already have been seeing. Is the young fella, man, at his position where he was taken in the draft and his contributions to the game in this team, I've seen people fired for less. And I'm not advocating.
It's a good way to get yourself fired.
And really make it, well, I'll say this, really make it hard for you next year.
Yeah.
100%. I know coaches that blatantly tell you, I'm going shopping.
Yep. 100%. Tell me why this game is so important Sunday.
I'm going to be honest with you. The optics of it. You got a team that's 2-10. And yeah, you're one game better than you, right? You got a backup quarterback in that is on a rehab tour himself.
Yep.
Jacksonville hadn't been that good of a team. It does come down to pride. I'm with you. Our conversation about screw the draft pick.
Yeah.
This, you want to be a team that beat bad teams, right? That's why it's so big on me being anxious to see what this game is going to look like. Will you rise to the occasion? Also, have a response to what last week was in the district.
Yeah, I think real quick for me, guys, it's continuing to build a foundation and the confidence and caliber of this foundation. Even J.C. Latham, I could tell yesterday, this meant a lot to bounce back this week and to end the year strong. That's been the message, is to build something to go into next year, especially for these foundational pieces.
I mean, it's just a proof of concept game. The Jags stink. They are one of the worst teams in the NFL, and this can be the game where it all clicks for you offensively. The draft pick will be a bright side if this thing does go negatively. That's how we'll look at it. I mean, if they keep losing games, it's all right, well, on the bright side. But we don't need to get to that bright side yet. And these guys need to be wired to be more competitive against bad opponents. I do not want to see this offense play back down to the level of their opposition because Jacksonville is not good at stopping anything that you want to do offensively.
And is that part of it right there. And I don't want to say a sense of pride, but just man, what's the objective of playing sports, right? When the clock hits 0, somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. You want to win more than you are losing, despite what most will want this to be. And Coach Callahan, to me, considering how people speak about him and the fan base, the fans, I know he don't give a doggone about what the fans think in the sense of his job, okay?
Right.
Doggone.
He don't give a doggone. Okay.
I ain't trying to drop 4-letter words this early in the morning. But what I'm saying is this. He's got to create that culture of getting this fan base behind him, too. And I think that's one of the biggest things not one of the biggest things he's fighting. Winning games is it. But perception of him that he's a validated coach in this league, I think it needs to start showing his head.
Yeah. And also if you can check off those AFC South opponents, down the stretch. You already checked off Houston. You can check off Jacksonville. You've got a chance to do something there at the end of the season. So that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
If you care about the draft pick, this is not a team you should care about the draft pick in relation to either. They're not picking a quarterback.
Nope.
No.
So, I mean, Jacksonville can maybe trade out and get options for what they have, but I think Jacksonville is going to be in the Travis Hunter sweepstakes as they look for a game-changing player at this point.
To that point right there, I was at the barbershop yesterday, and the guy told me, it's all right, I think I can live another year with Levis. Let's go build this team stronger. And I was just see?
Yeah.
That's
where we're at.
That's where we are.
That is where we are at. I would rather get more clarity on that and win some games late than need to draft a quarterback in a not quarterback-friendly class, as we know it today. 615-737-1045. You want to chime in on that discussion. Coming up, David Sanders signed with Tennessee and did a media tour that included these airwaves. We'll dive into some more signing day college football headlines coming up after this on 1045 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Is your heating system keeping up with the colder weather? Look, we've had temperatures at about 15 overnight here on this Friday morning. You've likely found out whether or not your heating system is ready. And if you're not waking up where you can see your breath this morning, don't wait, because available 24/7, 365, the professional lead company team is here to help. You might still be able to stay ahead of Mother Nature. The lead company technicians will perform a 22-point inspection, as well as seasonal cleaning and maintenance to keep your home running efficiently this winter. Even better, save $20 on your next heating tune-up visit today. That's $20 off on your home's next heating service. You just got to contact Lee Company at 615-567-1000 or go online to leecompany.com for an appointment to keep your home's heating in check. That's 615-567-1000 for $20 off on your home's next heating service for the folks who have been in business for 80 years here in Middle Tennessee. Online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company. All you need.
What's going on, guys? Bert and Ramon here to tell you about the original hot chicken. That's Prince's Hot Chicken, and they got stuff going on all through December, but especially this week, Ramon. Ugly sweater competition,
Love
breakfast
that.
with Santa, Christmas karaoke, codes for kids. They got everything going on.
They do. The ugly sweater competition, man, is on December 5th and 12th, all right? And breakfast with Santa, Saturday, December the 7th at 9 a.m. Bring the kids out, man, to meet the jolly man himself. And Bert, of course, the Christmas karaoke is Thursday, December the 12th, too. Prince's is in the holiday spirit, man, but also in the spirit of helping folks out, okay? They're hosting a coach drive for Coats for Keelan, all right? Drop off new or gently used coats at the Tanger Outlets or the Nolensville Road location. The coats donation will be at Brenda's Box of Blessing and Restoration Point Clothes Closet, man. Look, get in the holiday spirit with Prince's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken around the city, man. Go to princeshotchicken.com to get more details.
Friday morning at RKW continues on 104.5 The Zone. Wrapping up the first hour of the show. In a half hour, Brent Hubbs will join us, as he always does on Fridays. And we'll dive into the newest Tennessee left tackle, David Sanders, who officially, at long last, our long national nightmare is over. He became a Tennessee Vol yesterday. So when David Sanders made his official visit with Tennessee, he was FaceTiming with some legendary Tennessee players, including the guy chuckling right now, Ramon Foster. So you got a chance to be a part of this recruitment. You've talked to the young man. Tell us about the guy, David Sanders, who we heard on 3HL yesterday as well.
Man, he was on, I think, the official or one of those visits. He was just on campus because he visited a lot.
It was a Bama game, I believe.
Yeah, and he was on campus a lot, man. They actually asked me to come up. I think I had some stuff I had to do. So it was one of those, and it was like, hey.
One of your 5 jobs that's now well documented.
But in talking to him, man, very charismatic young man, all right? You can tell he understands his importance to football. You can tell he understands how important he is in general, man, but it comes from a great place. Like, I listened to him a little bit on 3HL, and you can hear why he's so grounded, and he has a real understanding of the game. The folks I talked to up on the hill, man, in Knoxville, it's just like he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he gonna smile and he gonna laugh and he got the baby face approach to him, but like he gets after it. And he's one of those ultimate competitor types of dudes, man. And when I spoke to him, it was yes, sir, no, sir, and nice to meet you. And, you know, big old cheesing that he has going on, man, as far as the smiles and excitement of the recruiting process. I do think whenever he came to Knoxville, whenever he went up to Columbus, it was one of those things like, I kind of want to go see the big show. Like the game, as some like to call it, right? And all things that all the conversations I've had surrounding him is like his family is very savvy as far as like how they approach what is now the business of college football, high school football at this point right here. And in my short conversation with him, man, very appreciative, understood who I was, what I meant to the University of Tennessee. And
nice.
It was one of those things where he understood what it can mean for him, too. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, too. When you're a 5-star plus is what they call those guys, he's one of those, number one in his position in the nation. I'm sure every university makes him feel that way. But even Austin Price has told us in his conversation, like his family don't get, thrown off by the glitz and glamour and the flair of what's in front of them. They understand what they're after. And you can tell, that's why I always tell people, when you see somebody that laughs and smile all the time, keep them that way.
Yeah.
And because you never know what the other side is like. And I think that's him. And he's got a mom and a dad and 3 little sisters, he said yesterday, that take care of him. And I think now he has that opportunity to do that for them a little bit.
Yeah, he seems super grounded. I saw that Paul Feinbaum clip where he committed yesterday, and I loved how you're right, yes, sir, all the time.
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
The laughing, the chuckling.
But you can tell, like, he has that in him, like that competitive fire. And I know when he was recruited by Josh Heupel, he said they did a great job following up with me ever since I was a freshman in high school. And I just love the fact he's a leader, and he's going to be a leader for this team.
Yeah, no doubt.
He reminds me so much of when Trey Smith committed. Same profile in terms of talent. Trey Smith by ESPN.com was the number 1 recruit in the country the year he committed to Butch Jones in Tennessee. But, man, I tell you what, he clearly has got a plan. And David Sanders and his family and his camp, because you say a kid has a camp now in college football. It's the world we live in. They have a plan for him using his 3 to 4 years at Tennessee and becoming a first-round draft pick. And it's really, really cool to see a family understand the business and brand side of being an elite high school football player, because that clock starts way earlier now than it used to. And you mentioned On3 has him as a 5-star plus. I mean, this kid has been getting a master class in learning to be a professional athlete since he was about 16 years old. Yeah. I think he handles the limelight really well. I don't think the moment of coming to Tennessee will be too big for him. You look at the scouting report of why he is so good. Charles Power of On3 says he's got good stature, around 6'5.5". He's added 25 pounds throughout his junior year of high school going into his senior year. He's around 275 at this point. Runs the 40 in the 4.8s at this point. Says he is truly an elite athlete at the position. That's a little bit different of a profile, Ramon, from Tennessee offensive linemen, because we've seen Tennessee turn a lot of road graders into Josh Heupel offensive linemen. They like the 320-pound 325-pound offensive lineman. We were talking about this off air a little bit. This actually might be more the better fit of what Josh Heupel wants his offensive linemen to look like, people that can move, because as much gap scheme and things as they're running where tackles and guards are running downhill with your running back, having a guy that can run and be an athlete and be a former tight end the way this kid is could be really advantageous for this offense.
It is. You want to be big dancing bears, man. It's what you want, like agile, mobile. And I think the pace of this offense, as I was speaking to someone about, like, you know, the hysteria was last week of him going to Columbus for the game. I was just like, well, I mean, those dudes that put in, you know, dude after dude that tackle in the NFL. I was like, I somewhere get it. You know what I'm saying? If he just chose to go there, like, you can't be mad at it. When you do what you want when you popping, right? As far as recruiting goes. Mm-hmm. And one of my sources was like, no, like, he actually fits this offense. He fits what Josh Heupel wants to do. Now, of course, he got, what, 8 months now, 9 months to hit the weight room. If he still is going to stay lean as far as, like, his body type goes, like adding muscle, getting strength, working on his balance. And, I mean, when you're this type of guy, Jordan Seaton had his time this year, too, at Colorado, the number one draft. I mean,
Absolutely.
the number one recruit last year at tackle. He's going to have some moments. He's going to probably look like a freshman out there. I do think at this point he may end up being a day one starter because that's what you want out of a guy.
Dudes like that start day one.
Yeah. It's he got it. He's one of those guys that fit the offense.
Quick shout out, by the way, Nashville teams won 2 state championships. Speaking of high school football, yesterday there were 2 all Middle Tennessee championship games. Nashville Christian beating Columbia Academy. 5-star quarterback Jared Curtis was wearing a Vanderbilt jacket at the end of this game. Had a South Carolina towel and a Vanderbilt jacket at times. Again, the new normal in high school football. So credit to him. Nashville Christian beating Columbia Academy, and then CPA, back-to-back state titles. BGA got 3 straight onside kicks late in this game. Made that really interesting late. But Nashville Christian, CPA get wins. Page, the only Middle Tennessee team playing today in Chattanooga at the Blue Cross Bowl. Page in Sevier County. 4th straight year Page has made the state championship game as they look for their first state title in school history. And then a couple of Middle Tennessee teams on Saturday. Macon County, Melrose. Going to be a really fun one. Melrose, the team with the most NFL players in Tennessee history. Yeah. Including Tony Pollard, who is, of course, a Tennessee Titan. And then Oakland, Houston will be a barn burner.
I wonder if he's going to try
tomorrow night as well. He could.
Yeah,
he could.
I mean, possibly,
they back
here.
home.
Yeah.
Melrose right out of Memphis. 615-737-1045 is our number. Nick Holtz, Titans offensive coordinator, says he saw growth in one key area for Will Levis against Washington. We'll tell you what that is next. What's going on? It's Will Bowling. Come tailgate with us at Gray and Dudley's Bankers Alley Hotel. It might be getting cold, but we are staying warm. We're taking the party inside for the game this week against Jacksonville, but we still have the same delicious food, craft cocktails, family-friendly atmosphere, and exclusive game day valet parking for just $30. Or you get there a little bit earlier. You wake up with me. We're there at 9:30 on Sunday morning. So you got plenty of time to drop by before you walk across the bridge to Nissan Stadium. Dine in with us, and you'll enjoy discounted valet parking for only $20. Come join us, Gray and Dudley's tailgate at the Bankers Alley Hotel. It is the perfect way to start your game day. 221 2nd Avenue North. It is an easy spot to get in and out of downtown. And when you leave, it's a spot of downtown where the traffic is not bad at all. 9:30 a.m. That's where we'll be Sunday morning. Gray and Dudley at the Bankers Alley Hotel.
7:02, good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. I could never do the whole thing like that. Thursday night football, great divisional game last night as the Lions outlast the Green Bay Packers 34-31. Jared Goff tossing 3 touchdowns, 2 to Tim Patrick, 1 to Jahmyr Gibbs. Lions clinch a playoff spot, move to 12-1. The Packers fall to 9-4. Bill Belichick getting some work in early in the coaching cycle. He won 6 Super Bowl championships with the New England Patriots and now is looking to throw his hat in the ring for the Tar Heels head coaching job. The UNC fired Mac Brown on November 26th after 6 seasons with the Tar Heels. The 73-year-old Brown, who is a college football Hall of Famer, was in his second stint at the school. Belichick, only a year younger than Brown, who was the oldest coach in FBS this year. And the Titans back in Nashville this weekend to take on the Jaguars. All your regular pregame festivities are there. Lead Company countdown to kickoff with Kayla Anderson, Blaine Bishop, Brad Hopkins, and Buck Rising. After that, Titans Radio gets you everything you need to know before kickoff at noon. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW 104.5 The Zone, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, a Football Friday produced to your radio and smart device by the one and only Robert Walsh as well. 615-737-1045. Coming up in 15 minutes, Brent Hubbs of VolQuest, his weekly conversation with us talking Tennessee athletics. We'll have Mike Keith, another VFL. Talk some Titans with him coming up at 8:20, and then Ron Slay at 9:20. We're bringing it. Fridays. I mean, we're bringing it every time. But we bring it in all caps on Fridays for you. Yesterday, Nick Holtz, Titans offensive coordinator, was asked, where have you seen growth in Will Levis? Has there been one area specifically? And what's the next step for his maturation as your starting quarterback? Here's the Titans OC.
Back.
I thought he played really well. I thought other than those 1 or 2 plays, we keep talking here about protection and kind of taking some hits and things like that. Really, I thought he did a good job getting the ball out, kind of avoiding, some of those rushers and really subtle pocket movement, which is a good growth for him. And I think he's getting the ball out. He's seeing it well, and he's, making accurate passes. So we're pretty happy with everything he's done so far.
Steady game-by-game progress with him. What are the next steps? It seems like you've seen that progress through these 4. What are the next things in progress?
The next things are probably really converting more third downs, right? Hitting more third downs and scoring touchdowns in the red zone, right? More times where we get a chance. We had the ball to Chig on the down the sideline there where they, he overthrew him a little bit. They said he got pass interfered with, a little bit of those kind of things, but make sure he gets a chance to either Chig can go make a play on that ball or we get the PI. So there's a couple plays like that where I think now we're just into a smaller amount of things where we're looking for now it's going to hit and you're hitting 4 for 4 touchdowns in the red zone rather than 2 for 4 or 1 for 3 or whatever we've been these last couple of weeks. That's really where those, and then on some third downs, like you saw the big one where he scrambled out, kept his eyes downfield, hit that to Calvin. That was a big play where you see that, and all of a sudden you see a couple more of those, you're going to feel really good.
So that is Titans offensive coordinator Nick Holtz meeting with the media yesterday. I love hearing that guy talk, by the way. I think he's really good in the media and very analytical in the way he breaks things down. I think, firstly, hearing that they like Will Levis's improving pocket presence is significant to me.
Yeah, and we've all talked about that too. And there's been almost things in every game where he's been able to build upon those things. And I feel like that specifically in last week's game, just taking 2 sacks was something he grew in and had no interceptions, by the way, in that game. And then when you speak about those third down situations where he could get better at that. Just for reference, too, they have not been great in third down this year on offense, just 33.77%. That's 28th in the league. But these are the types of things where now you're getting into every little detail. Okay, so we've improved our pocket presence. We've shortened up in terms of, turnovers and not had as many of those. These are the next things. And I agree, they're more, detailed, but they're very important when it comes to the overall success of the offense. And the red zone as well. I mean, 50% down there, that's not good enough. Things shorten up down there. It's more difficult in the red zone. So that is a layer that I expect Will to improve at as the season goes. I don't think it will be something right away. We'll see those numbers go up, but he has a few games to maybe get better at that since he's not mastered. I don't want to use the mastered. He has gotten better at the other things that maybe seemed more basic.
Yeah. It sounds like he's speaking about efficiency.
Yeah.
Like taking advantage of what's in front of you. And that other side we talking about, he's scrambling, eyes up and looking down the field to hit Calvin on the sideline. Like the instinct of playing quarterback. Like that's where you start to get comfortable and you got the offense behind you as far as like the understanding of all things and where your guys are at. That type of stuff makes sense. I'll never forget when I had that like aha moment in my second year. Like that first year was a blur. It is. I got to give it to him. And a lot of folks have said this. You got to give Will Levis 17 games, and there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. I think as bad as it was, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was just like, for what? Why do you need to give him 17 games? Like that's been the conversation behind it. But there is the ability to get better through play.
Sure.
You hope, right? And everything that happened earlier in the season didn't look like it does right now.
Yeah.
And that is the portion of like sports where the redemption side of, hey, I'm not that same old guy. Right? Like, and that's where he is. I feel like Coach Holtz is as far as the perception of how they feel about Will Levis right now. I want to see what it turns into more. Like, I tell you guys, like, guy I blocked for, Ben, used to say this all the time. He actually caught a lot of flack behind this.
Ben Roethlisberger?
He said this out loud.
Yeah, Ben.
I'll never forget, we were about to go play Washington on Monday Night Football. And this is when RG3 was fire hot. He was fire hot, and there was the RG3 Andrew Luck conversation, and that was hot. And they asked him, it might have been one of the big networks, or of course, media just goes wild with anything. And he was just like, somewhat of his quote was just like, I have no opinion on him. Like, I don't know how good it is. He was like, I give a quarterback 3 years before I formulate an opinion about him. And he caught a lot of flack behind that too. And I remember it because he was like, that's my opinion, how I feel about evaluation of guys. But he was just, that has stuck with me, though. It is 3 years. There's the rookie year. RG3 hit the world, just NFL world by fire, right? And then it's the second adjustment year.
And more films out on you.
And more film. But like that third year, respectfully, is the year that you say, this is where you should start cooking.
And good organizations have time to let you grow into that third year.
Yeah.
Ones that you have to play in year 1 and 2 can't afford to wait for you sometimes.
Right.
Especially not at the quarterback position where that cycle is more like a year and a half.
Right.
I mean, it does feel like everything is twice as fast at the quarterback position than it is everywhere else.
Yeah.
Because their playmaking has to show, right? The same way Jaden Daniels jumped on the scene, the way C.J. Stroud jumped on the scene, like not every franchise is going to get that, right? I think Jordan Love last year had a little bit of that. He's not fully ready yet.
And he still had time to wait.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he still wasn't totally ready.
It's live reps, right?
Right.
So I'll even push back on myself, say, Mon, you was dead wrong. Like, you got to give him time. And that's where the frustration of losing the bad plays is, what are you doing? Moments that Callahan had on the sideline become a little bit more unforgivable.
And rightfully so, because they were egregious. Like, they were bad, right? They were not just normal mistakes. By the way, Will Levis, just to note, guys, you had mentioned those 17 games. He has now played 18 games in his NFL career.
Is it 18
So we just
now?
hit 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Jags had the number 27 third down defense, the number 26 red zone defense in the NFL. So you talk about what the next step is. Can you get yards when you have to have yards? It's one thing on passing downs to have success early on, right? Like passing downs isn't the right word. First and second down, when the defense doesn't know you're passing.
Right.
It's one thing to do that. It's one of the ultimate tests to me of a good football team. Can you run when you have to run? Can you pass when you have to pass? And that is the next step now for the Titans. They have not been able to win one-on-one when the field condenses in the red zone or when the sticks give you what you have to have on any given play. That's the next step I want to see Sunday.
Yeah, it is.
Fair.
I mean, not Cole Anderson. Nick Cole said it.
This is a happy conversation, bro. We don't have to talk about him with us.
I know. It's on me right there. But he said, instead of going 2 for 4, let's go 4 for 4 with a touchdown. Like, that is that execution that you need right there. But it's so much that's thrown into it, too, as far as, and he acknowledged it, protection. Guys having the ability to get open. But if Will Levis knows where to go with the football, if he gets a better understanding of where blitzes are coming from, where pressure's coming from, too, his instinct, like that's to me what I wanted to see him hold on to also is, all right, you've gotten real calm and chill. He's super chill now, huh, Kaylin?
Oh, yeah, different. It's different.
You still,
even Babsy was saying yesterday when I was talking at the Christmas party, she said she can even notice it. It's just a different tone that he has when he's speaking. That doesn't always mean everything, but in this case, it kind of does.
But you
play into the play.
It means something when it's also translating to the field.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. It does.
Sure.
But that playmaking, mobility side of his game, you can still be eccentric with that.
Yeah.
I saw people yesterday still saying that Colt Anderson is just a Jim Irsay plant to take away the Titans. To undermine the Titans from inside. So anyway.
The way the season's going, I don't think much planting or watering of that plant needed to be done, man.
Well, the photosynthesis happening in our midst. Coming up next, VolQuest's Brent Hubbs will join us. David Sanders is officially a Vol. How does he factor in the near future for the Tennessee Volunteers? Plus, what is the rooting guide for Vols fans? How practical is a home game in Neyland Stadium in the college football playoff? We'll ask Brent Hubbs that next.
Hey, I know a lot of you last weekend were busy in the kitchen cooking up, of course, a great Thanksgiving dinner. So maybe this weekend you're thinking about just taking the family out to eat. So what you could do is just make it simple and stop by one of your local O'Charlie's. They've been serving up Southern hospitality since 1971. They were actually born right here in Nashville with several locations. Like I mentioned, you can go check out their huge menu. Their VIP menu right now actually has 13 budget-friendly items. They're all priced at $12.99 and under. So you're going to get a deal while you're at it. It is Friday, so thinking about the weekend, O'Charlie's with their happy hour is great. I've mentioned this before. Their happy hour is every day, 3 to 6 p.m. And you can also go in and check out one of their family meals. They've got the chicken tenders and the chicken Alfredo for under $25 to feed the entire family. And remember, you can always get more flavor, get more choices, more value all day at O'Charlie's.
RKW 104.5 The Zone rolls on this Friday morning. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined, as we are at this time every week, by our very good friend Brent Hubbs of VolQuest and On 3. If you don't have a VolQuest subscription this week, you're not paying attention. You're not doing this college football fan thing right if you like Tennessee Orange. Brent, what's up? How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. It looks like everybody survived the Christmas party. Ramon, are you okay this morning? I mean, did you go to bed, or did you pull a Dale Carter and just show up for practice this morning, or what'd you do?
I never was the type to ever just show up to practice. All right, I had to get in the hot tub. I had to get stretched out, put my icy hot on hubs, get my gloves, get my mind right. Let's just say your boy took a couple of leave this morning. All right, let's just and what's sleep, right? What's sleep anyway? Who needs it, Hubs?
So you tell me you're telling me you got slayed last night. You got Ryan slayed.
Why did you know I was? This is the second week in a row I've told you get out of my head. Okay,
Brent, you'll be shocked to learn Slay was the only one who didn't need drink tickets. So Slay just figures things out, just asks you what you need, and one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden you got a glass in your hand from Ron Slay.
Yeah, like no. Hey, Hubs, check this out. We sitting in the corner of the venue we're in, okay, and he's at the bar leaning over, basically pouring drinks, but not really, but basically pouring drinks because he ain't got no drink tickets, like Will said, with no wallet in hand either, okay? Hey, Savage, what you want? That's all I heard, Hubs, and the rest is history, okay?
Not his first rodeo, my friend. Not his first rodeo.
No,
And far from his last,
I'm telling you, he's the 8-second champ, is what I'm telling you. Get on that bull and ride. And you better hope you don't fall off with Ron Slay.
I love it. Well, Brent, yesterday it was amazing. David Sanders went from Feinbaum to talking with Slay in 3HL in about 15 minutes yesterday as well. Just how much relief was there in Knoxville over this finally coming to an end? Because, Brent, you know as well as anybody, the longer these things go, even if you feel like you're in a good position, the weirder things can get. And ultimately, David Sanders officially becomes a Vol yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those deals where you wanted it over with, right? I mean, but it wasn't like Tennessee was in any kind of full-blown panic. I mean, David Sanders had one set of papers to sign, and they were Tennessee papers. He didn't have papers from anybody else. So it was a matter of, was he going to sign in the early period, or was he just going to show up somewhere in January? Because you have to be signed by the end of the day today. And so if he did not sign by end of day today, then he could go anywhere he wanted to go and just show up as a student. But obviously he elected to sign yesterday afternoon, and there's plenty of relief. Now it's about David Sanders and about 19 of his newest friends showing up on campus here and getting ready to go to work, during bowl practice, and then getting ready to go to class and get things started and go from there.
VolQuest's Brent Hubbs with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Brent, it's so impressive hearing him talk because you can tell him and his family and representation, they have had a plan on what they wanted this entire recruitment to look like, what they want his college and NFL career to look like. It reminds me a little bit of when Trey Smith came to Knoxville originally as well. Where do you see David kind of factoring in on this Tennessee team? I know the portal is yet to open. There's a lot to be decided before this year is even over as well. But is this a guy who you pencil in as a day one starter in Knoxville?
Well, I don't know about inking or penciling anything in, but he's certainly in that conversation from day one. Obviously, there's an investment in having him in Knoxville, and this is a guy they've prioritized for several years, and I think that he's got to come in and earn it, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, he moves up near the top of the line when the day he moves into campus because of what you've got invested in him and the talent that he has. So he's got to go get some things done. He's got to get stronger and more physical in the weight room. But certainly, I think you can look at that right tackle position, and when you say, well, who are the candidates there? I think the first name you mentioned is David Sanders.
Brent Hubbs with us, VolQuest and On 3 Hubs. We were having a little off-air conversation about asking you who's the other guy in this class that could have a big impact. I think a lot of folks last year, had some ideas of guys in that last class that could be a guy. Boo Carter, jumped to the front of the line and actually showed it. Who's one or two of those guys in this class, man, that could really jolt this team?
Well, that's a great question. When you look, I mean, the beautiful thing for Tennessee is I don't know that they have to have a ton of guys make an impact like they have had in the past, because they've got some depth in this roster, assuming, most everybody stays. Now, there's going to be more movement on Tennessee's roster as the portal opens up. I think a guy like Marion Dye off the edge is pretty interesting. How does Rodney Garner use him in year one? Does he play him a little bit like Joshua Josephs did in year one when he was at Tennessee, which is, 8 to 10 snaps a game in certain situations? Could he factor in there? What do those young linebackers look like? I think Tennessee's pretty set at linebacker, but they're rotating quite a bit there. So those are two guys that kind of jump out. And then what do you get at the skill position spot? Everybody's talked about Mike Matthews all year. What did you learn from Mike Matthews this year in terms of how you get a guy ready and how quickly can you get a guy immersed into your offense? Do you have to maybe spoon feed it a little bit more as opposed to throwing it all at him and package some things up? But what do you do with a guy like Travis Smith, who's had a great year down in Atlanta at Westlake High School? What kind of factor can you get out of, a Dotson or some of these guys at the receiver position that they brought in who could potentially help them there? So I don't know that there's a glaring hole that you say, boy, this guy's got to be plug and play, unless it's maybe David Sanders at right tackle.
Right, no doubt about it. Brent Hubbs with us this morning, man, talking Vols recruitment. And if you ain't got the War Room, man, or VolQuest, man, you are tripping because the War Room has everything in it. Like the next thing that I'm about to ask you, okay, I'm going to rob Peter to pay Paul real quick, okay, and get a 2-for-1, okay? How and where, what happened during this Tim Merritt recruiting that you said that he talked about Tennessee behind the scenes, and how are you able to flip him considering, Tim Banks is up for a contract, but I'd expect he has aspirations to be in that head coaching carousel moving forward too.
Well, I think you get a couple things, and it's interesting if you watch signing day press conferences around the country, there's a ton of gnashing of teeth by coaches about the NIL part of it, okay? And the NIL part of it is very challenging. There are no guardrails. We got Brett Bielema sending out, his shot across the bow yesterday about how they don't have $20 million to build a roster, and these other teams are putting $20 million rosters out there and still not making the playoffs. And you got Brian Kelly talking about how it's no longer about relationships. It's all about the money. And, you've got a bunch of those things going on. But I'll give you Tim Merritt as a guy that relationships count, okay? And this is a guy that really liked Tennessee when he visited the first time, and then he went to Miami. And you look at where Tennessee's at, that coaching staff with Tim Banks and Coach Chop and other guys just kept plugging along. They just stayed in contact with him. And they just kept working him to get him back to town. And he came back in for the Alabama game, and when they did, Tennessee started to move forward with him. And it was a little bit of an old school recruitment, Ramon. It was about relationships. There's some NIL stuff in there, I'm sure, but this was not like the idea that everybody's just going out and just paying astronomical more money for a kid and just buying guys out from other teams all the time is not true. Is that happening in some instances? Absolutely it is. Okay? It 100% is. But that's not the case with every recruiting process, with every kid out there. And I think Tim Merritt is one where Tim, at the end of the day, felt more comfortable with the Tennessee coaching staff on defense. And the more he watched Tennessee's defense and how the secondary played, the more he felt like he was a better fit in Tennessee's system than he would have been playing at Miami. Plus, it's a little closer to home being from Alabama.
Nice.
Brent Hubbs, VolQuest, joining us this morning like he does every Friday on RKW. Brent, when the transfer portal opens up next week, where can we expect Tennessee to be looking in terms of positions?
I think interior offensive linemen, they're looking for some Ramon Fosters if they can find those guys.
Yeah.
To play inside at guard. So I think that's where you start. And then some of it may depend on who else jumps in the portal. Does another receiver at some point jump in? If that's the case, then I think you're going to look at a receiver. When you look at expected portal entries on Monday when it becomes official, based on everybody who's tweeted out, hey, I'm heading into the portal, the transfer portal at the receiver position is going to be really deep. There are a lot of receivers going into the portal. A bunch of guys that are going into the portal. So we'll see if Tennessee elects to do anything there. I think, Kayla, the other position that you're always looking at is defensive linemen. particularly interior defensive linemen, if you're a school that rotates heavily like Tennessee does. Tennessee would like to play 4 to 6 interior defensive linemen a game, somewhere between 15 and 25 to 30 snaps is what they would like to do. And so I think you're always looking, if there's a grown man who's got a couple years in a college weight room and a couple years of eligibility left that you can get your hands on and get him to your campus and get him, then you're going to take him. When you look at Tennessee's depth going into this past season, on paper, there wasn't any need for Jackson Moy, really. I mean, you just kind of look at it and went, okay, why are you taking an interior defensive lineman? You got Bryson Eason, Amari Thomas, Elijah Simmons, Omar Norman Lott, Davin Hobbs, Nathan Robinson. You got some young depth. You've got older players there. But Jackson Moy is a guy that you felt like was too good to pass up on because you're rotating so heavily at that position. So I think you're always going to be in the market for a potential interior defensive lineman every year, and that's the case this year as well.
Absolutely. Brent Hubbs joined us this morning on RKW. Brent, this is the first time that we're going to have a 12-team playoff, and I'm curious as to, preparing for that as a head coach, as Josh Heupel. Obviously, we've got to wait to see exactly how things lay out, but Tennessee's going to be in the playoff. What do you feel like the schedule for the next few weeks is going to be like, knowing there could be several more games they play?
Well, this week was about getting healthy, and so they practiced a couple of days. But I mean, Dylan Sampson was a spectator, as you would imagine. I mean, he's got a lot of wear and tear on his body from this year, so you're trying to heal him up. And anybody else this week that had bumps and bruises, you were certainly going to heal them up. You worked a lot of young guys, some extra work, trying to build for the future this week with a couple of days of practice. Next week, you'll do a little bit more. Everybody will start to ramp it back up, but you're going to treat it similarly like a bye week. And a bye week workout for Tennessee is typically 3 days. So I think they'll get 3 days in next week, and then you will come back, depending on whether you're the Friday game or the Saturday game, you'll start your game week clock either on Sunday or on Monday, and you'll go right back into your regular routine and get yourself ready to play. Then you'll travel day before, just like it's a regular road game. If you were to win the first round game, then you get into the bowl preparation type stuff. Right after Christmas, you would go to California for the Rose Bowl, if the bracket holds the way it holds right now. It says it's going to hold right now, and apparently it pretty much is going to hold the way it is right now, given the Ward Manual comments on Tuesday night. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a ton of movement, but we'll see what happens there. But that's basically how they'll do it. This coming week will be a little bit like a bye week, maybe a little bit more than normal, and then the following week will be a true game week.
Brent Hubbs of All Quested on 3, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. So, Brent, on that front, it feels to me, right, like it's either a trip to Columbus or a trip to Penn State if Penn State gets blown out by Oregon. Is that a fair assessment at this point? And kind of looking at the early perspective on what those matchups could look like, how do you feel like this Tennessee team is equipped to go on the road in maybe 10 to 15 degree weather with this offense and defense playing the way they are and their chances of making a run?
Now, first of all, don't you will that 10 to 15 degree weather on anybody, okay? You can take that. You can strike that one from the record, my friend.
I think we've just accepted, Brent, that Tennessee's going to be the one that finally gets to play in prime time in Columbus, right? Like they're going to be the team that finally gets to do it.
Oh yeah. I think first of all, from the playoff committee standpoint or the selection process, I agree with you. That's what this looks like. I don't see Penn State falling behind Tennessee. Even if they're beaten handily. Now, I can see them falling behind Ohio State. That makes the most sense. It's what a lot of national people say. I think the one interesting thing is if Texas were to handle Georgia, and Georgia's a 3-loss team, where does Georgia go in this process? Where do they go? I think that's the one thing that hasn't been talked about a whole lot. And I know we've got a precedent set where you've got a 3-loss Alabama team in the playoff right now, and you got 2-loss Miami on the outside looking in. So you've got that precedent that a 3-loss team is ranked ahead of a 2-loss team. What exactly do they do with Georgia? Where's the punishment or lack of punishment, if you will, for conference championship games? I think every conference commissioner right now is going, man, we got a problem come Sunday, because if the teams that lose don't get punished in any way, shape, or form, what's the point of the college football playoff? Why are we playing the game, right? If you win and you don't really move anywhere, what's the point of that game? everybody in conferences are trying to protect that game. How do you protect it? That's a whole different topic for another day, but I think that's a concern that conference commissioners have. To your point, if you're going to Happy Valley and playing Penn State, the grass is going to be about 4 inches tall. They're going to try to slow that field down. But I do think that you can match up with Penn State in some different ways. Penn State's a solid team. I think they're solid on defense. But can you get some speed stuff going on the outside against them? Now, their tight end is elite. They got a gazillion different ways, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a running back. He's a single-wing quarterback. They throw it to him all over the place. He is one absolute handful from a matchup standpoint. On the other side, if you go to Columbus, you got turf, so it's going to be frozen, but it may be a little bit faster. The question at Ohio State that all their fans are asking right now is, can you get any production out of the quarterback position to produce points? And Tennessee's defense travels, and I think that's why you feel like Tennessee can match up with either one of these teams. I'm not saying Tennessee would be the favorite to win. They wouldn't. I say it would be an upset if Tennessee won. But because both teams have not been elite offensively this year, and Tennessee's been really good defensively this year, then you feel like you got a chance anywhere you go against anybody you play with.
I'm gonna be a little real, man. I'm a little disappointed in you this morning, man. You know why?
Take some more leave.
No, see, I'm still here. I'm still ready to go because you mentioned turf in the wintertime and the growth of it. Like grass shouldn't be dormant this time of the year, Hubbs. You know that unless they piling in nitrogen over there.
Have you not seen ryegrass?
Well, yeah, you're right. Ryegrass, you're right.
Brent's a pro.
But it's so thin and
Just
fine.
ask me a gardening question.
Yes.
Don't ask me about agriculture.
You're right.
Stay in your lane.
That's right. I was. That's on me. That's on me right there, Hubbs. All right, strike that from the record.
Listen, they got heat lamps, they got covers, they got fertilized, they got ryegrass. That grass up there would be thick. You know it would be. Ramon.
You're right. That's on me, man. Overseeding has happened. With that being said, though, we do have to get our basketball minute in, man. Coach Barnes, just throw that out there, man, should be going into next week poll the number one team in the country. Not just that. Kim, I mean, the style of ball they pull off one against Florida State. What can you say about that department, man? As we could talk about many others too, but I'm excited to see what the rest of this season look like for those two those two programs.
Well, if you're a Vol fan and you're airing grievances right now, I'm not sure what grievances you have to air other than maybe the College Football Playoff Committee, because life is pretty good to wear your orange anywhere you want to wear it right now. Given what you've done in baseball, obviously still carries over. Your football teams at the College Football Playoff. And your basketball team is going to be number one in the country. They can score. You knew Rick Barnes' team would play defense because that's a given. You have to be able to do that. But offensively, with the newcomers, they have been more efficient than any of us anticipated this early. Now, they've still got a lot of work to do, still got a lot of ways to go. Competition's going to get ramped up. The SEC is elite in basketball this year, as we saw in the ACC-SEC Challenge. This is a really good basketball league with a lot of depth. Auburn's good. Alabama's good. Kentucky is good. Tennessee's good. I mean, it is top-heavy for sure, but there's depth there as well. For Coach Caldwell, I think that, you need lessons. You would like to get lessons and still get the win, and I think she got exactly what she wanted and what they needed on Wednesday night when they beat Florida State, because – when you blow a lead like that, if you lose that game, it can be hard. It can be a harder challenge. You've got to learn how to win. I talked to her on Tuesday about that game, and she was most curious to see how her team would handle adversity. And to have a third quarter the way they did, to blow that lead, and then to come back and find a way to win it. They never let Florida State get more than a possession ahead of them. They answered every time and then got to stop at the end. There's a million things for them to learn coming out of that. But I think one of the biggest things you learn is that, hey, this works. We just got to be able to finish better, but we figured out a way to win. And I think learning how to win, Ramon, is important, and I think that was a big step for them on Wednesday night.
Big tip of the cap to our friends at VolQuest. Brent, congrats on another outstanding signing day, signing period. You guys crushed it as always. Yeah. And congrats on just surviving the silly season and making it through, even though it never really ends, does it, these days in college athletics. Brent Hubbs.
It doesn't.
Brent Hubbs, our guest this morning. Brent, we appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Stay hydrated.
Thanks, Brent.
Yes, sir. Brent Hubbs of VolQuest on 3, brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. Coming up, the weirdest coaching news you will likely hear all year in college football. You may have seen the headline. Bill Belichick interviewed with North Carolina. We're going to give you the context because our good friend Stephen Godfrey had a great Twitter thread on what might really be going on at North Carolina. We got that for you next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. I want to tell you about something that affects everybody. By age 30, 50% of our master cells are dormant, and by 60, 90% are. I want to introduce you to LiveWave, the most advanced, multi-patented, non-invasive, and affordable technology in the form of a wearable patch that kind of looks like a Band-Aid. I can attest firsthand, this stuff really works. And if you're waking up early this morning, it's cold outside, you don't want to get the day started, it's been a long week, well, energy levels, they go up tremendously with this technology, but not just that. We're talking blood pressure, sugar levels down. We're even talking about years of pain, like shoulder pain, back pain, that's going to go away even as quickly as 4 or 5 days. Now, results vary, but most experience excellent outcomes, energy, better sleep, pain relief, and more. OurLiveWave.com. That is the website. OurLive, wave, WAVE.com. Or remember this phone number, 501-605-6935. Just call that number to learn more about LiveWave. That's 501-605-6935 and tell them that we'll send you. That's LiveWave online at OurLiveWave.com. So honestly, you could have come into the studio this morning and hit me in the face with a skillet, and I would have been less surprised than what I was reading this next headline yesterday.
Uh-oh.
It's RKW, your Moan, Kayla, and Will, 615-737-1045. So Inside Carolina says that Bill Belichick interviewed for the North Carolina head coaching job. Yes, that is 73-year-old Bill Belichick, who has never worked in college football, interviewing with UNC. How do we feel about this?
It's press run is what that is. That is a publicity stunt more than anything. And it's also just letting the world know that I'm still in it, y'all. Hey,
We're
I'm back.
still here. We're still here.
Yes.
We're still here.
That's what I got from it.
Yeah, Nashville's own, by the way, Bill Belichick. He was born right here in the Music City. I think it's funny because sometimes people forget that. But he started out his career, too, as like an assistant in the NFL, like never even had to dip into college. So why in the hell would he want to dip into college at this point where all you got to deal with is, NIL, money's making sure you're recruiting? I just think it is the most out of left field type of thing I've ever seen.
It's being relevant is what it is. Oh, Bill Belichick wants to be a part of this. All right, to the point about recruiting, going in homes, being 73 years old and trying to get these young men to believe. Like, one thing he will have is, like, his control. Like, from my understanding, the way the Patriots did stuff, it was the Patriots way. We understood that. Very college-like in a sense, right? Everybody's same beat, same, like, everything is the same inside of that building. He would flourish, I think, in that department. Well, except now NIL is involved in it too, so these kids do what they want to.
It's like the opposite of Nick Saban in my eyes. Like when Nick Saban dipped into NFL, he knew right away, like, this is not for me. I feel like that'd be the same with Bill, but going to college. Yeah. This ain't for me.
So Bill Belichick's not going to go to UNC. No. Bert, what do you know on this?
I was just going to say, you thought Mac Brown quick. You thought Mac Brown quit at halftime in the locker room. Right. Bill with the first game against the Citadel, would it be like, this is not for me? And just hit the bricks.
Yeah.
So Stephen Godfrey added more context to this at 38 Godfrey on Twitter. And essentially said the goal here is to make UNC look like it's bringing all-star names in for a top-level job. Yeah. Perception is reality. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Said reality is the program is way behind in NIL, and candidates have a lot of questions about logistics and money. There's lots of upside, he says, but this is a PR win, not necessarily a job interview, but it can be characterized publicly as a job interview if it benefits one or both parties. In this case, I think it benefits both Bill to put out there that he's interviewing for jobs, and I think it benefits North Carolina to say, oh, hey, John Summerall, you want to come on down and talk about North Carolina? Because Bill Belichick did.
Sure.
Maybe you want to have the same presentation that he did and tell us about this program. Or, Glenn Schumann. You want to be a head coach for the first time in college football? Well, come interview for the job that Bill Belichick just interviewed for.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
As we speak, it's on behind us. I mean, that's the thing. It's being talked about everywhere. And publicity, whether you want to deem it as bad or good, it's publicity, right? It is. You're getting your name out there. So I honestly think it was a smart move.
It's hilarious. In our YouTube chat, Retired SF is saying, go for Bill. Don't let these haters discourage you. Like, some people just want to see the world burn, okay?
Oh, yes.
But that's just what it is in a sense. To me, I think this is notifying the NFL that, hey, y'all, I'm ready to do that thing again that I was real good at. And right now, some good destinations. I'm not sure if he'll go back to the Jets or go to Chicago, but maybe some other heads to fall moving forward. Jacksonville, right?
There's a lot of questions about if he would be a good recruiter, but I think the only thing you would have to look at is his girlfriend right now. If you want to talk about getting young people to college, look at how well of a recruiter he is for his own love life.
Hey, can I be real with you, Bert? No, my brother, I beg to differ just a little bit, because you know why?
What's that?
That's what money do. Okay.
If you're unfamiliar, I think Bill Belichick's girlfriend is around my age.
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious. I think she's around my age.
She just
I am
puts
27.
a bag on his head.
Honey, can you hand me that CD?
God.
That what?
Wow. Okay, yeah, that one. That's funny. John Summerall is the guy that you just back up the Brinks truck for, though. I'll do the analysis here. You guys don't worry about it. Bert and I will talk football.
You got it.
John Summerall, who is 32
Can't
and 7.
always be serious.
32 and 7 as a head coach in his head coaching career, going from Troy to Tulane, replacing Willie Fritz at Tulane. I think the UNC job is not at John Summerall level, though. I think he could wait for a job better than North Carolina.
I mean, high academic standards. Clearly, they can do good things if they have a really good coach, but you've got to have the NIL. And I think, when you have those high academic standards, we've seen it at Vanderbilt before, it is harder to recruit. I don't know. It's not the top job for sure, but if they are willing to help you out and say, hey, we're going to promise you this, you could try.
It depends on what they want to spend their money on, because North Carolina has money.
Yeah, they do.
But North Carolina is like Stanford. They've got so many sports that they care about. They are a field hockey powerhouse. Like, I'm telling you, I know that's way off the beaten path. They've won like 7 straight national championships or something crazy like that. And like soccer and swimming and all these other things. Like, they are majoring in the smart kid sports, where really smart kids who are very good at those traditional Olympic sports go to North Carolina or Stanford pretty consistently. So if they want to spend more money on football and reallocate those funds, then we're having a different conversation. I just don't know if they're willing to do that.
Who's actually gone down that level and done it well?
What level?
College from the NFL. Herm didn't.
I mean,
do you mean like
Pete Carroll?
left NFL?
But that was kind of the other direction.
Forced to go back because Matt Rule, I would assume coaches like that. I wouldn't say they've done a bad job.
Okay,
but
Harbaugh would be the one.
Yeah.
Did he start off in college? Most of them start off in college first. So
yeah, University of San Diego.
Yeah,
they built a rivalry with Dayton while he was there, where they had a flag that they passed between both teams if they won.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier this year. He did a good Part by Take interview this summer about it. Coming up, Denard Wilson talking to the media yesterday, answered a question we continued to ask. Why aren't the Titans sacking the quarterback more? Denard Wilson tried to explain it, and we'll give you the explanation coming up.
What's going on? 8:01. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Thursday night football, we had a great divisional game as the Lions outlast the Green Bay Packers 34-31. Jared Goff tossing 3 touchdowns, 2 to Tim Patrick, 1 to Jahmyr Gibbs. Lions clinch a playoff spot, move to 12-1. Packers fall to 9-4. We just talked about it. Bill Belichick, a little bit of interest throwing his hat into the coaching search for the Carolina Tar Heels. UNC fired Mac Brown on November 26th after 6 seasons with the Tar Heels. The 73-year-old Brown, a college football Hall of Famer who was in his second stint at the school. Belichick only a year younger than him, who was the oldest coach in FBS this season. Titans back in Nashville this weekend to take on the Jags. All your regular pregame festivities are in order. Lee Company countdown to kickoff with Kayla Anderson, Blaine Bishop, Brad Hopkins, Buck Rising. After that, Titans Radio gets you everything you need to know before kickoff at noon. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on into the second half on your football Friday, and we are properly acting like it. On RKW, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. Robert Walsh is our producer. We'll be joined in 15 minutes by voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, as we are Fridays at 8:20 here in the football season. And Ron Slay is still yet to come.
Yes.
This morning at 9:20 on the program. Yesterday, Denard Wilson was asked a question we have asked, you all have asked, and Titans fans have been wondering this season, how are you not sacking the quarterback more? We talked about the ESPN number. The Titans have the 9th best pass rush win rate in all of NFL football this season. However, they have the 3rd worst pressure rate, only behind Carolina and Jacksonville. Denard Wilson was asked about it and had this to say about why the Titans aren't getting more sacks.
Him in the past?
Yeah, I mean, it's been there. I mean, when you look at teams, we get a lot of chippers on known rush downs. So it's a lot of 7-man protections and things like that. We have to be better. Avalanche in the pocket. And then when you look at you go back and look at the games, we've had a lot of sacks that we've missed. Where guys have been there. And, we got to seal a deal when we get around the quarterback. And that's a big emphasis for us this week.
Jarvis, I guess.
So that's Denard Wilson talking to the media yesterday. A lot of opportunities where they've had opportunities to sack the quarterback. They just haven't gotten him on the ground.
You know what's funny is when he said that, I immediately went on and I can actually point out those moments they've had this year where they have struggled they've been like at the ankles or missed them by a thread, and those are when those quarterbacks start to scramble, right?
Yeah.
And it's just one little miss, but there have been so many of them, they've kind of compiled up at this point. And he's right, they just got to finish. And I know that's easier said than done, but in a situation like this where you've got a quarterback in Mac Jones who is not known for, getting out of the pocket. You could try to get him down. If you can try to get him down and not even let him take a few steps, that's the way to start this. But I even think Sebastian Joseph Day mentioned yesterday, you guys, he goes, it has been trickier with these mobile quarterbacks. He goes, but don't sleep on Mac Jones. He goes, I watched a lot of film on this guy this week. If he needs to, he will try to kind of escape. And so they've got to just get them down when they can and not let any of these guys kind of drift out.
Yeah, and so like the thing is this though too. This will be my offensive line side of things, describing like the differences too. And I say this in a very respectful way, but like defensive linemen like have to be sharks. They have to like go eat while also trying to keep the concept of the rush together, right? And that's where I think this team has somewhat either just missed a little bit, and their abilities to find what's the right gap to hit while not giving up the opening space to a Jaden Daniels that's running on them, or a Caleb Williams that, extending plays and stuff like that throughout the course of the year. Like, it is a unique situation to be in. And then, of course, the quality of depth in which you have on your team to guys that can you can unleash wave after wave of guys and not have to count on a Jeff or hoping that Tavondre makes a play. Like, it's a hard place to be in for that D-line. But that's where they have to be selfless and saying, look, if we just stick to our script, and I think that's what Denard is saying, like, we'll get the payoff. And that's the small details of, like, the haves and the have-nots, right? Or the ones that do get over that hump eventually. That's something that, of course, this week with Mac Jones, like, you got to be able to disrupt him and have him looking side to side and be like an old Mark Sanchez seeing ghosts. Like, it does have to come together. And all things I've heard as of late seem like they had a staff meeting as a team. Like, where are we misfiring? Like, from either the quarterback situation, the playmakers that we need to start making plays. And honestly, we've almost heard every single coach on this team, from Denard just then, from Colt Anderson also, and Coach Brian Callahan, say it's the small things. Yeah. Like, winning and losing in this league is simply that. How much can you minimize what you're bad at versus exposing theirs? And it's so simple, but yet so hard.
Yeah, it just does feel like the defense is now in the same boat as what the offense was a couple of weeks ago. We're talking about, you see flashes of things that are good. It's not clicking right now.
Yeah, and that's the duration of the season. That's the wear on you from losing, too.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't want to make no excuse on, like, oh, man, these guys are down in the dumps on themselves. But after losing for so much, like, you legitimately have yourself figuring out in a room with each other, like, what do we need to do? And I feel like those are the things they're looking for right now.
And I think, too, when you talk about practically, what would it mean for the Titans to win a football game? Like, what are the practical steps it's going to take to win a football game? You start to understand why tanking and losing is not the best path forward for this team. They got to find some guys that can get after the quarterback.
Absolutely.
Because they need guys who are going to come back next season and not totally turn over the entire defense again. They need somebody to step up. I'd rather somebody on this team step up than somebody who's playing in conference championship weekend this weekend, who we have no idea what they're going to be at the next level, step up for you next season.
I mean, that's not going to help anybody if you tank when you're a team like this, because like Will said, whether or not it's, Harold Landry trying to finish off strong, or if it's any of these other young guys getting an opportunity, you've got to continue to see progress, because you can't flip the roster completely again. I mean, they already flipped the roster 50%. There's going to be new bodies, right? Absolutely.
You got to do it again next year.
But you at least try to, with what you have now, build on those parts of the game that they've maybe dipped a little bit in mid-season or whatever it might be. Just try to finish strong. That's the only thing you can ask your team to do. All the guys we talked to yesterday, too, they didn't want to talk about Washington. Well, unfortunately, you guys, we have to, because it was that bad. The big thing is now, okay, you're saying you're going to respond. You got to go do it.
Yeah.
Against a team like this, too.
I mean, and even just looking at the 3 wins this year, Miami, I mean, what's the concept of winning that game? Oh, just don't throw a dumb pick, or hey,
a different Miami team than what everyone else who's played Miami has played this year.
And it was in New England. You survived that one. Is it fair to say that? I'll give credit
to Drake May, too, though. He did play a good game in that.
He did,
right?
But as far as like the Titans getting the dub
better
there,
now too.
Like that was a fractured win.
Yeah, it wasn't something
like you
big.
were just better than what a rookie was in that sense, right? And then the last one, like the Houston Texans, one of the most complete ones, but you still had a bunch of situations to where mistakes were made, fumbles happen, bad plays still happen, and you found a way to win. What you did have going for you in that game was the 132 yards on the ground. You know what I'm saying? And but still 3 turnovers that game you had to deal with. So the ability to actually have a clean win hasn't been there. So the figuring out still has to be done moving forward. And I feel like as it gets tight right now towards the end of the season, it seems to be like the collective goal of the staff.
Win a game cleanly without a fatal mistake that would often get you beat.
They've yet to do that in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Because even against Miami, Will Levis threw a terrible pick on the first drive.
Yeah.
It's like just
that's
somewhat
fair.
compliment everybody. Like just somewhat compliment each other as a team. They don't know how to compliment each other.
No, not yet. Well, and of course, I mean, speaking of the one in the middle child of them all, though, right, is the special teams component.
That's
of
part
it,
of it.
You know?
So special teams.
And that's
middle
where
child.
the defense has been good. Now, you seeking Kayla
Yeah,
for
I
real.
see what you're saying.
You seeking how approval, and right now it's not approval on that side. Now that you've got the quarterback, somewhat computing correctly. So, big one this weekend. I don't care if the starting quarterback ain't in this week. You just got to body him.
And that is the thing I feel like the Titans have wasted this year. They've played so many backup quarterbacks.
Yes, they have. And they prepared for a lot of both of them usually. At least we know Trevor's out, right? A lot of these, they didn't even know yet if that was going to be a situation where they'd face the A or the B.
Right.
It's been interesting.
So if special teams is the middle child, does that make the offense the oldest and the defense is the youngest child? Because the defense started off, it was the favorite. Because let's be honest, youngest always the favorite. I'll raise my hand. And you felt really good. You felt really good about your youngest, your defense. And the oldest, I don't know, maybe it's probably the opposite.
It's probably the opposite.
The oldest is the offense. You spend more focus. You think more about, getting your oldest ready. The youngest was just chilling. The youngest figured out things on their own from watching the other ones make mistakes. And now they're good. They've gone out a little. They've snuck out of the house a little bit too much. The defense, you got to reel them back in now.
Yeah, you do.
And you're the one with kids. You should be the one making this analogy now.
Oldest, middle, and youngest.
Yeah,
For real, in our families, right? Are you middle?
I'm a middle child. I'm the second
That's
of four
so funny.
in my home.
What are you, Bert?
I'm the oldest. Technically, I am an only child, and then my dad remarried, had 2 more kids, so I'm the oldest out of those youngins.
Now, see, I got a crazy dynamic because on my dad, from my dad's kids, I'm like the second youngest. So Ron and Nardo, who I'm the closest with, they treat me like the little brother. So
they're the oldest.
Yeah, Savage. Don't slander you this morning, but you were great to us last night.
Tennessee handled Louisville. You treated Nardo like a little brother.
I did treat Nardo like a little brother. I did. But I do remember his early career in Louisville. Like they were orange bowling and they had a lot going on. So, hey, neither here though. I think the
Jeff
defense
Brom
is the
and
big
Brian
brother.
Brom.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Brian Brom was that dude. We shared an official visit together too.
Brian Brom, that was the year too that every number 2 ranked team lost. That was 07.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
And they were one of them.
They
Louisville
were.
was number 2 at one point.
Sure in the heck was.
USF was up there at one point. Rutgers was up there at one point. I want to say Pitt was good that year too.
Pitt was solid.
07?
They continue to upset Miami. They had a good run.
This is the most 07-like year that we've had in college football in a while too. Bert, what you got?
Doesn't Brian Brom kind of sound like he owns a really crappy used car lot? Like, come on down to Brian Brom's Hummer and Tesla Emporium.
Imagine them 2 cars together, Hummer and a Tesla together.
Yeah, you can get your gas
Old
guzzler, or
gas
you can
one.
save the planet. Which one you want?
100%.
Get you somebody to do both.
Well, what I had to pay for my tags yesterday on that electric car. Never mind. I'm not going to go that far.
That was bragging camp.
Well, how much time you
Which
got?
electric
Waiting for
car?
a care package.
How much? Never mind. How much time you got?
Coming up next, voice of the Titans, Mike Keith. We'll talk Titans and Jags with the VOTT next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance was established in 1926, and it is the largest and most comprehensive orthopedic practice in Tennessee. If you're a high school football parent, a high school athlete parent, or you're just a parent, an adult that wants to feel their best, I'm telling you, TOA are the folks that I trust. They are the leading experts in sports medicine and performance. They're the team physicians for NFL, college, and high school athletes all across Tennessee. The pros all the way down to the elite high schoolers. They trust TOA, and they provide sports medicine coverage to more high school and college sports teams than any orthopedic group in the state of Tennessee. They've got specialized programs like sports performance training that'll enhance athletic performance and provide tailored training solutions for athletes at all levels. Personalized rehabilitation plans if you need that physical therapy to enhance mobility, reduce pain, improve overall physical function. They will literally do it all. 29 locations throughout Tennessee, online at TOA.com. That's Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, online at TOA.com. Sopranos music on a Friday means we catch up with the VOTT. Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, joining Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling on the phones this morning, previewing Titans and Jaguars. Mike, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Will Bowling.
Mike, real quick, man. So you have your theme music too that we play on the show. I just like you to know, last night we had a company Christmas party, and
Yes.
there was a tune played, okay? And I would say but you know the Pied Piper grabbed the microphone himself, Ron Slade.
Yes.
And Return of the Mac played, and he got on the microphone and told the DJ, no, run that back, play it over again. And he made everybody in the building hold up their glass of water or whatever they had and give a toast to Coach Mac in his honor. I just need you to know that the legend carried on last night, Mike Keith.
I love it.
Is Mike there?
Mike, are you still there?
Mike is gone.
I think we lost Mike.
Oh, we
God,
lost
that was
No,
such a great
I'm here.
set.
Oh, there
I'm
you
here.
go. There he is. There he is. We got you good.
Was Coach Mack there?
No, we just had to
Oh,
honor
okay.
him.
Oh, I thought, that would have been a great party. If Coach Mack goes to a party, it's always a better party, as you know.
No, we just had to do it in his honor, man. The DJ played Return of the Mac, and everybody's just like, where is Coach Mac
That's
at?
fantastic.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I felt like we needed to tell you that this morning.
Well, that's great. And by the way, he sat in on the OTP pregame this week, which is now up at TennesseeTitans.com and the Titans YouTube channel. And he was especially good because we got to talk about Jeffrey Simmons winning the Walter Payton Man of the Year. And I asked him to go into why that award is named after Walter Payton due to the fact that he was with Walter Payton in Chicago for all those years. And I was interested, we all know what a great player he was, but what was the significance of his off-field that such a prestigious award would be named in his honor? And Coach Mack shared some great Walter Payton stories that I certainly wasn't familiar with, so I thought it was really cool. And he continues to deliver all the time, whether we're going to the playoffs or not. Coach Mack is worth a listen for anything we do on Titans Radio, and always very thankful that he's part of what we did, and he deserves every salute that he can receive.
I love it. Titans Radio always on our minds when we hear the musical cues. We just needed the Sopranos theme last night. We would have been totally complete.
Yeah, the world would have
That's
been
all we
complete.
needed. Mike, as you look ahead to Titans and Jaguars this weekend, where is this game won or lost? What is the matchup you're circling in this game?
It's line of scrimmage. I mean, the Titans got worn out on the line of scrimmage both ways in Washington, and you've got to turn that around. I mean, it's funny because Dallas really did that to Washington. And so clearly Dan Quinn challenged his team and they responded. It's the same for us. This is simple. We've got to go win the line of scrimmage. You can't lose the line of scrimmage that badly and have a chance to win in the NFL. And we just, for every reason that there was, we just were not able to win it. More so, unfortunately, on defense than on offense, because the offense didn't have the ball a lot. So, Washington certainly did some good things defensively early in the game, and they continued to play well. But what the Washington offense did to the Titans defensively certainly hasn't been done all year, and I would imagine it's not going to get done again.
Mike, I'm curious your perspective on this because you get late in the season and fans start looking at draft order and want to have that conversation. But when you talk about a team playing a divisional opponent looking for momentum, and you look at Detroit and what they did the second half of a season a couple of years ago to set themselves up for a winning season under Dan Campbell, and now we know Detroit as what they are, maybe the best team in the National Football League. How important is it for things to click, especially for some of these young players? And how often have you seen these games late in the season that might not have playoff implications still matter for individual players who are going to be a big part of what this organization is moving forward?
Well, Will, you've hit on what the goal for the whole season was realistically. And because we're 3-9 and how we've gotten there with all the, strange, wacky, whatever you want to call it, poor play on special teams or, failings in different areas, that sometimes takes the focus off what this year was always going to be. And I think what it is going into the 2025 offseason with the arrow pointing up. And the Detroit reference is perfect. Remember, Sheila Hemp had to step in just over 2 years ago, meet the media, the owner of the Detroit Lions, and say that Brad Holmes, the general manager, and Dan Campbell, the head coach, have my full faith and confidence, because they were 1-6. After their poor first year, they were 1-6. And everybody said, oh, this is not working. And from there, the rest of the season, they went 8-2, and they finished 9-8, and they carried that momentum. And that's what the Titans have to do. They certainly have a good opportunity to do it with 3 home games. They certainly have an opportunity to do it with division games where you can set a tone, also where Detroit set that tone. I mean, these factors that played into some of our optimism going into Washington, where we said, hey, if you win the Washington game, things could get interesting. Well, you didn't. And so it's going to take a minor miracle for things to get interesting now. But regardless of that, you've got to hold up your end of the deal and win some games down the stretch. And this team needs to win games a lot more down the stretch than it needs a top 10 pick. This organization needs it. And the reason, Will, is because we're 9-27 in our last 36 games. The fan base feels it. They know. They've been beaten on. They're tired of it. The people in this building feel it as well. You've got to turn the arrow. And so picking 7th or 8th or who cares? If you told me right now I could win the last 5 games of this season and be in a position where I'm only going to pick 16th, I will take the trade-off for what the momentum is. Because there's still a lot of good things that are going to come in this offseason. You've got a bunch of draft picks. You've got a bunch of cap room. You're going to be able to build on the foundation of what you've put together roster-wise. You're going to have a second-year head coach and a second-year staff. I mean, I'm filibustering right now, or so it seems. But the truth of the matter is, I think this is the most important thing that would be on the mind of everybody. You've got to – this franchise desperately needs to win games now. Not next year, now.
Voice of the Tennessee Titans with us this morning, Mike Keith. Mike, one thing I've always heard is the worst thing a person can do is lie to themselves, right? And to just be real with yourself, too. And, hey, this is a league of second chances as it pertains to what guys do and don't do. I've even had to rein myself in and be like, you know what? Let's see this Will Levis thing through, because early on in his career and this year it's of the mindset that, hey, this is bad and I don't see it being good. Right? But now you're starting to see that little bit of time that's given and the restructuring, rewiring, whatever the heck we want to call it, of him and his ability to be the best thing for this team moving forward. Mike, where are you on, even despite the losses, Will Levis's just turnaround, if we can speak about what we've seen so far?
This is the process, Ramon. And this is the process we were always going to see. The people who were shouting in September and October, they failed to understand that this was going to be the whole process. The people who are screaming and shouting that they have their answer on the positive right now are wrong. Because, who have made those sorts of decisions, I think they're wrong. This is the process. And the process was always going to be a 17-game season. We have to see more. We are seeing the things we wanted to see recently. Brian Callahan is certainly seeing the things he wants to see. I go back to, this is what we talked about in the off season, and nothing changed from that, Ramon. And that is, if Will Levis makes it, if he proves to be the guy, it sets this franchise up in a totally different direction for 10 years. And so for what he did against Chicago, not great at the end. For what he did against the Jets, not great in the first quarter. For what he did throwing the pick early in the Miami game, I got it. But this was always going to be about 17 games and about setting your foundation for the future. Going back to a reference to Coach Mack, what did he say in the offseason? He said they're going to need one more year of roster building to get where they want to go. I think overall, you're seeing a lot of positive things out of this roster to give you hope that a lot of these guys are going to be able to contribute, especially this rookie class. And Coach Mack's point was well made. We need more players. We're going to need more. We're not good enough. So we're going to need more players in the offseason. Now, how many of these guys take a step the rest of the way in cementing their position to be part of that in December? And Will Levis is certainly at the head of that discussion, but it's a 17-game discussion. I mean, listen, if Will goes out and plays badly one time in this month, right, that's not the end of the road. It's a full discussion of a 17-game season, not all of which he will have started because of the injuries, obviously, but you get my point.
Yeah.
This is about July through January, the whole thing, and it always was.
Mike, on the other side of that, too, we're speaking about those personalities and playmaking, right? Guy, man, NWI, Nick Westbrook-Akine. Has he, in your mind, Mike, or just should be allowed to have changed the narrative on himself as not just being a trinket, right? Like potentially being a number 2 or a 2A for a team. And I feel like his market could be a little bit more spicy this offseason. But if you can, how crucial would it be to have him, and what has he done for himself moving forward, Mike?
Yeah, I hope they don't ask me because I'll ruin every bit of negotiating power we have. And the good thing is they won't. Yeah. I love him. I love Nick Westbrook-Akine. I love him as a player. I love him as a person. I love him most of all as a Titan. I love what he represents. I would love to see. He played winning football in 20 and 21. When we were winning back-to-back division championships and putting up good records, he made plays in those seasons as a first and second year player to help us get there. I think he's that guy. Okay. I think he's got some of that to him that is just in the special sauce that you can't measure with a stopwatch or even to totally understand watching him line up or on tape. He's just going to make something happen. He knows how to play the game. So, gosh, I hope they don't ask me because I'll ruin everything for whatever the negotiation is. I really will. I love him. I'm so happy for him. And I'll just say it again. I'm so happy that the fans are getting to enjoy this thing with him and give him all the love that I think he deserves. That's the broadcaster speaking. That's the guy who's in the building every day. That's not a football guy because I'm certainly not that.
Mike Keith, the VOTT, joining us this morning on RKW. Mike, we have a lot of young players on this team who are learning throughout the season, and always you're going to have ups and downs. When we speak about J.C. Latham, maybe the past 2 games not have maybe been his best. However, he has now faced probably every flavor of, pass rusher that there is in the NFL. How can he really use these final games to bounce back in those situations as a rookie?
Well, he's going to see 2 this week, and one in particular who is maybe as different as any that's out there. Trayvon Walker is becoming kind of a Khalil Mack type player now. Only he's bigger and he's faster. I mean, so when they drafted him number 1, everybody went, and then he had the rookie year that was kind of meh. And now, I mean, he's on track. He's got 8.5 sacks and tackles for loss, and he's making tackles. I mean, he's 6'5", 275, and he can really, really run, along with being straight line fast. He's quick and he's athletic. And, you get him every week now because, we've got 2. Every team has to have these guys. That's why they're so valuable in free agency. That's why they're so valuable in the draft. Jacksonville did the right thing picking him because that is a position where you must invest draft capital and salary cap room to be successful. So, I mean, there are certain positions that you don't. You can go get a guy next year who can do the same thing as the guy's doing this year. But edge is a position that you've got to use draft capital and salary cap room. And so that's why you have to have a tackle like JC, because you're going to see somebody with 100-mile-an-hour fastball every week. The difference is going to be what's their breaking ball, what's their changeup, what's their splitter, but you're going to get the 100-mile-an-hour fastball every week, and JC's figuring that out. That's the hard part of this job, is there's going to be no let-up. I mean, Cincinnati has people like that. Oh, by the way, Indianapolis has people like that. Oh, by the way, you see Jacksonville again. Oh, by the way, you've played against Houston, who has it. But he's going to see it the rest of the year. This is not, I mean, you don't get a game where you play an FCS opponent on the schedule, or you see a low group of 5 team. There's just not ever one. And as you get beaten up and as you take the pressure, the mental fatigue is also there as well. And I think that's part of what he's having to learn. But I'll tell you what, I'll keep him. I love him. I think he's going to be just fine. And I've seen enough signs from him, both personally and professionally, that I think he understands what this job is going to be. It feels a little like what Peter Skoronski went through last year. Different circumstances, change of position, and he had the appendectomy. But how much better is Pete playing right now, Ramon?
So much better, right?
He's in it, Mike. He had to grow. He had to grow.
He had to grow, and this is the evolution of where the foundation of our franchise is right now. And it's hard to accept. I mean, we're just not there. And as you looked at, I mean, the talent's better than it was a year ago overall. I still contend that. But the problem is it's not experienced talent. It's not talent that's played together. And you're hoping that you're going to see more signs of that, because back to Will's original question about Detroit in 2022, I mean, that needs to be our model. You know, we need to finish with the arrow up. And for JC, for Pete, for Will Levis, for Jarvis Brownlee, you know, for all of these guys, and even for guys who've just come in, for Arden Key to finish strong. Let's see Arden go to the Pro Bowl. Let's see Harold Landry go to the Pro Bowl. Let's see a 3-sack game. Let's see Amani pick off 2 or 3 in a game where he gets raised up to Pro Bowl standard for a season. You know, that's what needs to happen for this football team, not just this week against Jacksonville, but the rest of the way. And I think it's capable. Last week's over. It stunk. It was bad. We all know it. I mean, you know, Sherlock Holmes certainly could have figured that out. I mean, hey, Larry Holmes could figure that out. But sorry, flex line.
What's wrong?
But the bottom line with us is that's over, and we've got to do what we've got to do the rest of the year. It's not going to be as glorious as we wanted, like watching Detroit last night. They're having so much fun. Okay, we're not going to have that kind of fun, but we can have it in the near future if we finish strong.
Voice the Titans, Mike Keith, our guest Fridays here on the show. Always appreciate you, Mike. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Mike. You too.
The VOTT, Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith at TENN Voice, where you follow him on social media. Great stuff as always.
Yeah, it is. Mike's solid, man.
Got a little bit of time to open it up on the phones. Haven't done that yet today, so we can get to your thoughts. 615-737-1045. Why is Sunday so critical to the Titans? Would love to hear from you. Get your thoughts coming up on 1045 The Zone.
Make this a magical Christmas with help from Genesis Diamonds. Yes, you will love what's happening this month at Genesis. They've got 5 years, 0 interest financing across the board. Just pick any spectacular gift. Divide it by 60. You can do that on your phone, okay? And that is your payment. Everything's affordable. And guys, check this out. Genesis has what women love, from simple diamond stud earrings to amazing one-of-a-kind designer bracelets. Their showcases are filled with exquisite diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands. Can't miss gifts that will surely surprise her on Christmas Day, okay? And Genesis non-commissioned experts will help you pick out that gift that's sure to bring a tear to her eyes on Christmas morning, all right? So relax. No pressure at Genesis. They will make it so easy. And this year, get her the most romantic and most memorable gift for the season. Genesis Diamonds, best value, best selection, best quality, and best overall experience. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details at GenesisDiamonds.com. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
RKW 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 3. A reminder for the people that we will be out and about on Tuesday next week. One of our favorite events of the year, Toy Field, is here once again. And we are excited to be building a field of toys for the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. We need your help Tuesday, December 10th, while you're out doing your holiday shopping. Pick up an extra toy or a gift for a senior to bring to our 17th annual Toy Field, presented by First Horizon, to help fulfill the dreams of thousands of children in need this holiday season. We appreciate Law Tigers, O'Charlie's, and A.O. Smith. To learn more, visit 1045thezone.com/events today. What toys y'all bringing next Tuesday?
Man, a whole gang of them this time. I have to.
Yeah.
A gang of toys?
A whole gang
Is
of
that a way to
toys.
describe a group of toys? A gang?
A gang of toys. You doggone right.
Are they wearing?
The way the kids use them
Are they
against you.
Bratz dolls?
No. I ain't that rich out here, Kayla. I ain't got no. Well, my little nieces used to love Bratz.
Bratz summer is over.
Yeah.
No Bratz dolls, huh?
Ain't no telling. We will go pick up some stuff though, because it's better to give than receive, man. I might have to have my boys come down there and drop some stuff off.
Nice.
Well,
And
no, they got
remember,
school.
senior citizens too. You can
Okay,
get stuff
correct.
for them, so it doesn't have to
Absolutely.
be just toys. So
Yeah, nah. And again, go ahead and go to the stores this weekend, y'all.
The store.
Go ahead and
you
go
would
to
say.
the
Load
store
up.
this weekend and pick up some, man, and drop off. I promise you, man, it's much better to give if you can.
and bundle up because it's gonna be chilly.
A big coat coming out.
It's supposed
Yes.
to warm up a little bit, thankfully.
And the Sunday is supposed to be a little bit of a rain.
I don't.
too.
Yeah, let's not talk about that because
mistaken.
I got to be out there all day. Let's just
I gotta
let's
stand out there the
let's
whole
think it's
time,
not going to be.
Kayla.
I know. I'm already looking at my.
Ramon's like,
app.
I'm going to be out there during the game.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't think I can have an umbrella, nothing. I got a raincoat. though.
But he's got weather apps. They'll figure it out.
54%
Shut up,
chance.
you got an umbrella. I don't know if I got an umbrella. Stop it. Who do you think
I got a
you
Gucci umbrella.
Right. He's like, oh, my designer umbrella's getting fixed right now. So.
It's in the shop.
Our good friend Mayor Ron is back on the phone lines. Ron, good morning. How are you?
There they are. Good morning, RK Dub.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Hey, I got to give a shout out this morning to my fellow firefighter brothers who are tuning in down at Station 9 downtown Nashville.
Lovely.
The
Nice.
busiest fire hall in the United States 4 years in a row.
Wow.
Sweet.
Hey,
Goodness.
That's awesome.
I don't know if that's a good thing for Nashville or if it's good for them. Maybe. Sure.
I'd love to know the criteria.
I did it for a long time with them, and you don't sleep for 24 hours. It's
Wow.
a very tough job. So
Oh, man.
I got a little something for you this morning. Let's see if we can get this done right.
Come on with it, Mayor.
Titans fans, are you ready to get fired up for a divisional showdown? You think it's bad here? Have you checked out Boo Ball Town? We've waited for Levis as long as Coach Mack for jerky. Simmons said you're all hungover from success, not turkey. Bad teams get penalized more than the ones that win. Keep playing aggressive, Jarvis, even when it's cold, my friend. Monday, Callahan said I felt confident we would play well. Now you want him to get all manly and raise a bunch of hell. Colt, the way we break down assume is you're making an ass out of you and me. Big Jeff is mad. Look out, Mac Jones. Here comes the Titans D. See, at the end of the show, Ramon says your mic is always hot. You better listen to this man. He decides if you play or not. Titans fans, we have waited all year for this team to arrive. Oh, boy, is this great. We're going to skin the Jags alive.
Dang.
Mayor Ron in Nashville.
That is great.
Bringing it this morning. Be careful, Ron. Mike Florio will come after you too, buddy.
Jeez, man.
Come at me, bro.
Mike, you've gotten better and better with him. I can't even front.
I love
Ramon
people.
decides if you play or not.
I
It's
love people
crazy.
who listen. Like
Yeah,
people who just
he's
stop and
detailed.
actually take time to listen, and he gets every detail from the week on freaking point, dude.
Hey, Jim
For
freaking
president.
Nance.
For president.
Hey, Bert, Jim freaking Nance wants you to work a little bit, man. Caller approval rating, man. Where is that
Let's
at?
go.
Well, Jim freaking Nance can worry about his day job. Just worry about flipping the burgers, buddy. Caller approval rating. If he would call in, the caller approval rating would probably tank. But because Mayor Ron just called in and did his thing, I think this is the highest we've ever had at 7.5.
Wow.
Sweet baby.
Absolutely.
Leading the way
A
all week.
7.5 caller approval rating. You can join us and help raise it
Love
to a
it.
10 at 615-737-1045.
You said Jim freaking Nance would tank it, Bert, and keep flipping the burgers.
I'm telling you, man. I don't mean that. I'm just having a long morning.
He laughed.
Okay.
He
It's all
laughed,
right.
yo.
Said flip.
You do you.
Bert literally said, put the fries in the bag. That's crazy. That's literally crazy that you just did that to the good people in Asheville.
Hey, bro, a little bit more ketchup.
Hey,
Come on,
if
let's
we
go.
had a local approver rating of the professional hockey team, I think it'd be a 0.0. Preds lost
tough out
again.
there.
Preds lost again last night.
We
Yeah.
got I'll look at
It's
it.
Groundhog
And
Day.
They are Blackhawks are the worst team in the NHL. The Preds are
with the Connor
next.
Bedard?
Yes, and they
man.
just fired their coach.
Yeah, they did.
So I don't know what's on the horizon for the Preds, but something might have to happen soon.
Change.
That's
That's what needs to be on the horizon.
They just did
Yeah.
that.
Preds have
Absolutely.
20 points this season. They have the second worst record in the NHL.
Jeez, Louise, they're 7-14.
And they brought all those big names over. That's the thing.
Buying
expected
championships
more.
and wins is always hard.
You know what? I'm going to go there. It's a Friday. We're
All right.
acting like it.
All right, there it is.
Nash, the Predators mascot, during one of the Titans losses earlier this year, in the middle of a bad Titans game, tweeted, "Don't worry, Smashville. It's almost hockey season."
No.
Nash, you and your team are more disappointing than the football team are. So unless you guys have some kind of resurgence like Will Levis has, maybe the Preds should be less focused on the Titans and how they're doing and maybe figure out how to put a competitive team on the ice and not have the second worst team in hockey.
I mean,
So just a thought. I know the guy that runs the mascot's social media probably isn't making hockey decisions, but that is one decision that is not aging very well.
he said keep family business. Business.
Man, what are we?
I ain't realize they took a shot like that.
Yeah,
boy.
they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to do
I need
before the
a
All-Star
sad Predators growl like.
break. Yeah.
Do a
Yeah.
alley cat noise.
Why don't you just do a cat?
You know what you can do? Find a Tulane coach, wasn't it? I need a bunch
Yeah.
of dogs.
Is that Coastal?
It was
That was
it was
Coastal, yeah.
Coastal. That's who it was, man.
It was September 22nd. It was the Packers loss.
He did
at
that?
2:51 p.m. Nash tweeted, "Just a reminder, Nashville. ... It's almost hockey season."
That's spicy.
During the Packers game, while Malik Willis was beating the Titans. So,
That's kind of spicy. right
when
there.
Dante Fabro or Ellie Tolvanen, or take your pick on the Preds players that leave and then are better elsewhere, one of them scores on you. Maybe T-Rack should return fire.
This is pretty mean. But if you put T-Rack and Nash together, it would kind of be like how Nashville sports are right now.
T-Nasty.
Trash.
Oh, clip it.
Coming up, the fourth and final hour of the program.
It's good.
Just push the buttons, dang
Clip
it.
it.
Three racks.
Just push the, go to break.
Kayla, sometimes, man, folks just got to do the right thing, right?
Yes.
We've been telling folks, look, it's going to get cold. It's been cold. I think it was like 19 or something this morning, right? And then, of course, this weekend is going to be rainy and wet and get a little bit warmer. Then next week it's going to drop down again. Well, guess what, Kayla? Right now, according to industry experts, the National Energy Assistant Directors Association, heating costs are going up this winter, up to 23%. Go ahead and get you some good windows, because right now, Window Nation has their end of the year sale. 50% off all window styles plus zero interest for 72 months to 6 years. And, Kayla, an additional 10% off.
That's right. You do not want trash windows this winter. Not at all. You want experts that are doing the job right when it comes to even installation. Look at the Google reviews, okay? 33,000 five-star reviews on there, 96% customer satisfaction rating. And when it's all said and done, those windows from Window Nation, they're going to save you money this winter, keeping that energy and heat in. So all you got to do is check out their end-of-the-year sale, 50% off all window styles plus zero interest for 72 months and additional 10% off. You could go check them out at windownation.com or simply call them 866-90Nation.
9:01. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Thursday Night Football had a great divisional game last night as the Lions outlast the Green Bay Packers 34-31. Jared Goff tossing 3 touchdowns, 2 to Tim Patrick, 1 to Jahmyr Gibbs. Lions clinch a playoff spot, move to 12-1, while the Packers fall to 9-4. Bill Belichick throwing his hat in the coaching search for UNC's next head coach. It was reported yesterday that he interviewed with Carolina. They fired Mac Brown on November 26th. After 6 seasons with the Tar Heels, the 73-year-old Brown, a college football Hall of Famer, was in his second stint at the school. Belichick is only a year younger than Brown, who was the oldest coach in FBS this season. Titans are back in Nashville this weekend to take on the Jags. All your regular pregame festivities. Lee Company countdown to kickoff with Kayla Anderson, Blaine Bishop, Brad Hopkins, and Buck Rising. After that, Titans Radio gets you ready with everything you need to know before kickoff at noon. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Nine a.m. in the fourth and final hour of the show starts right now on RKW. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Boulding, Robert Walsh makes the show happen, and Ron Slay will stop by coming up in 15 minutes. The man known as the Pied Piper earlier on this program by one Ramon Foster. The man who was everyone's best friend at last night's Christmas party, and as always, everyone's best friend.
Kind of not, though. Kind of not.
Really?
Got a little bone to pick with Slay.
What?
Do you really?
Wait, with your client?
That should be under attorney-client privilege.
I'm sorry. I'm going to leave it all out here in the open. Last night, he almost stole Cheyenne from me.
Oh,
it was almost a single man. What's that song that plays? He goes, bum, 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 bum. And when it comes on, you just better find your woman. And you're working with some ass.
Oh, shake that back. Juvenile, baby.
That song came on.
Who's that?
And Slay looked over there at her, and I have never seen her look at somebody like that in my life.
She was about ready to put hands on these.
I'm telling you, it was smelling too good in there. She just got wafted away by his perfect scent.
What?
And I wouldn't do him. I could never do him like that, but I wouldn't do him like that if I could.
So, wow.
Was Bert Walsh going to have to cut somebody last night?
No, I think he could just have her at that point.
I made it clear to Cheyenne yesterday, I am protecting her on the show. I will continue to do my duties of protecting her on this show.
Well, see, I'm telling you, I told her the other day, I was like, every time we have a little argument, a little spat, I add 6 months to this ring. Last night, I added a whole 2 years on it. We're going to be waiting, girl.
I would have just loved to have seen if that happened. Everybody get in a circle and Bert and Slay have a dance-off. That would have been just
now, see,
epic.
I wouldn't want to cook my boy out there now. Come on now.
I don't doubt you.
Yeah, I got some moves. I can make it work.
I think when we showed up last night, me and my wife was thinking the same thing as we walked in there trying to figure out the crowd. And it was like, okay, there's Bert and Cheyenne over there. And y'all was walking towards us. We was walking towards y'all, Bert. It was kind of cool, man. Everybody showed up, man. Will, his boo thing on there. I'm a little hot about that.
She's at a bachelorette party.
Yeah.
Bachelorette
Oh, she didn't even have to work. Okay, she was at a
she's not
bachelorette
working.
party.
But
She would have been there if she was in town.
I officially met Zach Lyons last night, too.
Yep.
It was actually pretty cool.
I did, too.
Met
his wife, was very lovely.
Yeah, it was. Zach lives like a mile away from me.
There you go.
In Hendersonville, humble Hendersonville.
You always find out something new at those Christmas parties.
I told him we might have to invite him over to the back porch, man. Yeah. See if Zach gonna handle his bourbon correctly.
We even got to see Jamie Schaefer last night.
Yes.
It was a really, really good time.
Such a good name.
Justine
really, really good time.
Justine.
No, he's a boy.
There's boys named Justine.
Is he real? No, I ain't never met
boys
no
named
Justine.
Justine?
Yes.
No way.
Absolutely. There is boys named Justine.
A boy named Justine.
I've never once in my life.
Sounds like a Johnny Cash song.
Boy named
Justine.
Or that's the boy version of Jolene, maybe.
Justine baby names. Kayla, I hate to tell you.
It's not a boy name.
Justine is a girl-given name with Latin origins meaning just, righteous, fair, legal, honest, equal.
The Titans are going to play the Jags on Sunday.
There we go.
Titans are going to play the Jags on Sunday. Let's give our picks.
Ooh.
Prediction time.
Oh, gosh. That
Home
didn't sound
game,
well.
division rival, close. Titans win. A score?
You're going to give a score?
You gotta give
we've
a
only
score.
been doing this all
Yes,
year.
You've got to give a score.
Y'all always look
You're
at me.
like Buck. Buck will refuse to give a score.
You guys always look at me and be like, what
I don't
do you
do
want a
that.
score?
I
yeah,
give a
you do.
score.
Everyone,
No, I don't.
both of you do.
Because I give a score every week.
Well, while Ramon thinks about his score, 2.8% of people named Justine are boys. So
2.8?
See, I'm not technically wrong.
You're flexing over 2.8%.
Yeah.
They are out there.
Really? You would have at least needed 10% to be considered right.
Hey, technically there is some out there.
Technically, it is a score prediction this week. They got a badly ranked defense. Will Levis been somewhat trying to deal as of late. As long as they don't turn the ball over and special teams don't do anything to hurt them. Let's go 24-20.
Okay.
24-20, Titans.
I see this with an opportunity to score some points at home that's over 17 because they've been able to do it on the road. Crazy enough this year when they scored over 30. I think this is the time to do it. Will Levis has positioned himself in a good spot where he's building that confidence. I think the defense is really mad right now off of what happened last week with giving up so much in the run game. I'm not going to say by any means this is going to be easy, guys, because every day you're going to have a team in here who wants to beat you, including this Jags team, this lowly Jags team. I have the Titans in this one. I think they're going to win this one 27-17.
27-17?
Yeah.
Nice, 10-point dub.
Give me Titans 38-13. This is your blowout offensive explosion. I think the Titans offense comes out firing. I think they score a lot of points. I think the Jags are awful. And I think this is one where you see the Titans offense finally flex its muscles against a bad opponent. I feel good about this one.
Who's your show pony this weekend there? Levis or Pollard?
Well, you know Nick Westbrook-Akine is going to score.
For sure.
I think it's a Will Levis game. I do.
Yeah.
I think Will Levis performs well. I think Jacksonville is unable to get enough pressure on him. Second worst pressure rate in the NFL behind only Carolina. This Jacksonville defense, if you can't pressure Will Levis, I think he now at this point, from what he's shown us, can pick you apart a little bit.
Yeah, he can. And if they choose to blitz too and try to get home with him, what we have seen over the last few weeks is he actually does better, it seems like, in those situations.
For sure.
Knowing where his hots are. Just growth is what you're looking for.
I think you are going to get a very motivated Calvin Ridley.
I do
think
too.
if you are a betting person on these things, I would take the over on any of the Calvin Ridley props that you can get.
Yeah.
I think he has a big day.
He's coming off kind of a shaky performance last week, some drops. He's going against his former team. He did not want to talk about any of that this week, which leads me to believe he is focused.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. And then, of course, the open challenge that Coach Callahan and his staff have for that defensive front.
Oh, yeah.
Hair going to be lit on
sure.
fire for sure this upcoming weekend.
SEC championship. Prediction. Texas, Georgia. We don't have a UT game to talk about, so let's talk about Tex.
In this game, in the words of my dog, one of my favorite artists, Big X the Plug, I'm going for Texas. I like that.
I love that artist, though, so I can't.
That was
take
Cal
you on
Stark's walk-up song last year.
What?
Yeah.
It was. Sure enough,
National
it was.
champion catcher, Cal Stark, by the way, for those who are uninitiated and don't know.
This game is tricky, though, for real.
Very tricky.
Yeah.
It's essentially a home game, but Texas, they going to travel. But I think the get back from Texas this upcoming weekend, from what they have shown and grown from, I would hope the challenge being administered for the big boys up front, I think it's a close one, though. I think we see a score of 31-28. Tex.
Yeah. Give me Tex-Mex all day, man. I feel like this is a team that they lost to Georgia on their home field, which never looks good. It's never a good look, especially how much they were being hyped up. They know their schedule's been weaker this year, but I feel like they've been playing some good football, and they have already seen Georgia once. I think Carson Beck is kind of who he is this year. He's had a bounce-back game against Tennessee. I just don't believe 100% in Carson Beck. I do feel like he'll turn the ball over enough to give Texas the win, but I do think it will be close to. Give me 34-31 Tex.
Ooh, that's high scoring.
Yeah.
Goodness.
31.
I don't see a lot of points in this game. I see Georgia winning it. I will not be surprised by any result. to be honest with you. I think this is a high variation game of a lot of things that could happen. But I am confident that it is a defensive battle. I think these are two of the best defenses in college football. I think you can make an argument Texas's defense is playing better than any other defense in college football right now. The way they shut down A&M, they didn't give up a point in that game.
Right.
A pick six gave up all the points to Texas A&M in that environment, in that game. I just think Georgia is more prepared because their roster, and again, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to a coach that has been here and done this. And I think Kirby Smart has Georgia ready to try to duplicate what they did the first time. It's going to have to go differently because I think Texas will be much better at the point of attack up front than they were the first time around. They got absolutely whipped. Absolutely. They had 1.2 yards per carry. They had 27 rushes for 29 yards in the first game against Georgia. I don't see that happening again, but I do see Georgia winning it close. Give me 24-21.
Okay.
I think it's like an NFL game. I think it's low scoring. I think it is a defensive battle. So take the over then.
I just feel like
because I'm probably wrong.
Whenever we feel like these are going to be defensive battles, I always feel like we get the opposite. Yeah, and I feel like this is such a, like you said, well, when you lay it out on paper, it seems like it's going to be a defensive matchup. And I'm like, I just feel like something weird's going to happen in this game. We'll see, but I hope it's good. I hope it's a close
Big Ten one too?
We weren't going to. We're
doing
in
a Big Ten one.
I mean, go ahead. If you want to give a pick,
I absolutely think. Your
name's first on the
Oregon.
Especially,
a lot of people
especially now after this past week. Ramon.
I feel like
that's going in an open.
Let me clear my throat.
You flustered it. We bullied you.
Y'all did bully me. I got a feeling Oregon pull out the bulldozers and the dump trucks.
Yes,
this week.
Totally
and for this reason right here, Oregon is trying to show the world it's a brand. Well, the nation, it's a brand. Their top recruits right now: Texas, Alabama, Florida, Ohio, Maryland, Hawaii, Texas, Las Vegas, Nevada, Oregon, Illinois. I think they are going to go out, in my opinion. I feel like they're going to go out and try to embarrass the heck out of Penn State this weekend. And now they will be, in my opinion, trying to make them muffle screamers. Yeah. I got this game being like a 42 to like 27 game.
Okay.
I just, they won't call off.
Penn
State can't, unless they're scoring in garbage time. I don't think they're scoring 27 on the Oregon defense.
It can be interesting. Penn State, here's your chance for you to not be mediocre always. Here's your chance
they got a lot to prove.
Here's your chance.
I think they bring the bulldozers and dump trucks out this weekend. That's how I feel.
Coming up next, it is Ron Slay, the perfect Friday guest to wrap up the week. He will waltz his way into the studio and talk with us next.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk is shifting, your driveway is cracked and sinking, or your porch steps, have they moved? Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation, trip hazard around your home. It's a big eyesore, too. It's Ramon Foster. Whatever's going on with your concrete, listen to me. Call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. That's right. You've heard about USS for a very long time. The same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can also fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair your sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or driven on after 30 minutes. So don't go through that long, expensive process of ripping out or replacing concrete. Call USS at 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855 or online at USSTN.com.
RKW 104.5 The Zone continues here in the fourth and final hour of your Friday morning. We are anticipating the arrival of 3HL and SEC Networks, Ron Slay.
Yeah.
Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh, our producer. I should have just found a way to silence you, Bert, in that last segment, because every time we criticize Ronald Slay before he comes to the building, we are then suspended from his presence, that he's not here.
It makes sense. I'm just upset that I can't even call Cheyenne by her name anymore, because she was definitely not shy. We just about to call her Ann. We're going to call her Ann from now on.
Fair enough.
She was backing that up.
She was trying.
Hey, throw that thing in a circle then.
Yeah, how you think I got her? I know who she is. I know where I
How
found
did
her
you?
at.
I'd love to hear the story.
I know
one
where I
day.
found her.
Bag
I'd
it
really
up and dump
enjoy
it. That's another good one too, man. Bag it up and dump it.
Maybe it's only for off
Take me
air.
back to college now.
Do we know where is Slade coming in? Are we calling him? What's going on?
I already talked to him. He on his way.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Are we
real close.
Are we being reprimanded?
I needed that. No, absolutely. I think he made a stop, pick up a shake or something.
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Oh, yeah, probably
we
needs
need
that
to,
today.
He definitely needs a recovery.
Right?
I think we all do at this point.
He was like pretty much
Friday.
the bartender there.
No, we in good graces with Savage. He good to go.
Okay, cool.
I promise you. No, he's good
That's
to go,
good.
man. I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to come in here, considering, like, ain't no telling, like, anytime Ron Slay parties or have a good time, it can get extended to the late hours, okay?
Sure.
I'm just happy my dog's been up and been in chat this morning because, again, when you live the afternoon life, you got a long recovery, okay? And that's the luxury we
got
don't
time.
have. You
Yeah,
got
that's
time. Yeah. You can head to an IV place, get you some supplements in a bag. You can do all that.
I ain't gonna lie, I was having flashbacks last night, seeing those Don Julio bottles sitting around. I about had to go back to that wedding thinking about it. It was tough, man.
That Don Julio had you acting like a foolie.
I was acting like a fool. Yeah.
Sure.
There's a point in the night when, like, you have to do something the next day, and you have to just make that deal with yourself. I'm willing to have fun now to suffer later. I made that realization about the party started at 6. I probably made that at 6:01, so I got a head start on it.
Why did I think it started at 6:30? I felt like that was the ones that was on the email.
Never show up early, Kay.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't then.
Yeah, never show up early. You get there when you know folks want to
There
see
we
you
go.
walk in. You
There you
somewhat
go.
announced out here. You feel me, Kayla? That's all it is.
We always know when y'all
Never
walk in,
text
that's for
from
sure.
Savage.
We know our
Somebody
friend.
gotta let them in.
Oh,
goodness
no.
sakes.
Should I go?
Nose
Nose goes.
Is that the same?
Ramon,
You on the show? I'll do it. Your name is
Ramon just wants
He's
an
on the
excuse.
jog. He's on the. Unfortunately, we sent the guy who's 5'2" slow to go open the
Yeah.
door for Slay.
Everyone enjoy your little bit of Robert, Kayla, and Will.
Exactly. It's still art. By the way, VFL and SC did dress up Justine Schaefer.
Yeah, he has a Photoshop of Schaefer's face on a Karen haircut.
I was going to say, and
No
it
disrespect
out
to all
of
the
all
Karens out
hair,
there.
red.
We know our friend Keith Bullock is listening this morning. He's tweeted at us a couple hours ago and said, are you guys saying Will Levis is the QB of the future or nah? Y'all wanted nothing to do with him on my ride to work a few weeks ago, especially R and Dub. Good show. I got to get the catering order out. Peace. Keith's always working. No, I don't think we're saying he's the QB of the future, but I think he's the QB of the near future.
Yeah,
I think he's
that's
the QB of 2025.
I think that's like a hard question, right? Because we still aren't 100% confident, but he's made steps to be headed in the right direction. I just feel like it's the best option right now with how much more you need to fill this roster.
John has chimed in on Twitter and has brought this back up to the top of the queue. Says, hey, Keith, big fan of yours. One of those people on the show is Mr. Bad Takes every day, and his name isn't Ramon. How dare you talk about Robert like that? What are we talking about?
Come
Come
somebody
on,
get
John.
the license
Bert's got
plate.
great takes.
Are you okay? Do you need a deep breath first?
Nah, I'm in shape.
Look
What
at
the hell
yeah.
you talking
Slay has
about?
entered
I'm good now.
the
As
control
he
room.
puts a peanut butter cracker in his
He's
mouth.
got to. Slay
my
is
nerves,
paying the
man.
Bert tax before he pays
Yes.
the RKW.
That's
tax.
exactly what he said.
Does he know what Bert said about him earlier?
Oh, he don't care. It's Bert.
Attorney-client privilege.
care.
The discussion about Bert's issues with Slay will be handled behind the veil of attorney-client privilege.
Yeah, he don't care. It's Bert. Bert
We were just saying how Keith Bullock was questioning mine and yours Will Levis take this morning.
Bully was too. That's the thing about it.
That's what I said, Keith Bullock.
Yeah. No. I'm talking about he was questioning it also.
Questioning Levis?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, and we made the point that he may not be the QB of the future, but he is the near
best
future.
option right now.
chances.
Look at Ron Slay entering the building.
What's going on, dog?
Welcome.
What's
He's got a bag of goodies.
Oh, I thought
my
that was.
goodness.
I thought it was
Thank you
Chinese
so
food.
much. Look at this.
Slay dog.
The smoothie. Why would we be having Chinese food at 9:30 in the morning?
Egg fouillon in there, and I don't get
What
none. I'm
Chinese
upset.
store is open already?
If it ain't
that guy?
low
I
name,
don't
Kayla
know.
doesn't
It's
want
open
it.
on Christmas.
Don't trip. That shows that just you just trying to slander my iPhone. You threw some shake on my phone.
He's
No,
at.
it ain't your bad.
What is
I
this
know it
about
ain't
us
your
all
bad.
wearing red?
with the Master P's on.
You feel me? I'm out here with the Cartier frames. You feel me?
This man.
Look,
Who's
I'll be
mans?
asking me to show it. Every once in a while, I'm flex. You keep begging for it, I'm going to do a little bit more.
Thanks, Slay dog.
With your mouth full.
All right, that's going in the
Thank
promo.
you. I was gonna say, did your mama teach you manners?
Hell no.
Hell
My mama
no.
is a saint. You feel me?
This is gonna hit the spot here, right here. Smoothie.
Master of ceremonies last night, Ron Slay,
What up, though?
has
What's going
joined us.
on?
He
What's
has
happening?
taken time off from his help planting the flag on the Atlantic Coast Conference. There was a
You
lot of
did?
flag planting going on in college football over the weekend. Slay was planting verbal flags all over ACC basketball programs this week. I imagine you got to be like the Popeye workers meme. You got to be pretty tired.
Yeah, you
by the end
called
of
it.
this week.
Guess what? It was easy work.
It was easy.
It was easy work, dog. Like,
Didn't even break a sweat.
Not at all. And I was trying to tell them coming into it, they was like, dude, that's kind of crazy. Why would you pick? You kind of went out on
There
the
was
limb.
a lot of people picking ACC.
I'm like, dog, what y'all not
Crazy.
understanding is look at the talent top to bottom.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Now, if this was last year, it would have been a little. I still think the SEC would have won.
Yeah.
But with that roster they had, they lost a lot, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the SEC lost a lot, but they gained a whole lot. And they gained new coaches. You know what I mean? It's different. So, hey, man, when you know,
When you popping, you pop.
that's all I'm
Hey,
saying.
talk about the depth of the conference. Let's go down the road to Vanderbilt then,
Man.
too, because Mark Byington and Vandy only one loss to start the season.
Yep.
They go to Virginia Tech and win on the court that always, I hate watching games there because the camera is set up like on the
Yeah.
3-point line on one side of the arena, so I
Can't
can
see
only
those
watch a
back.
little bit of it. But, man, yeah, the depth of this conference and the depth of a Tennessee team that's about to be ranked number one
Yeah, no question.
next week
man.
as well is impressive.
You got to give a shout out to Byington. Get those guys to come together, and especially in today's climate when you got to get guys out of the transfer portal. You don't know what NIL is going to make somebody a little stingy, a little selfish, whatever it may be. But he has, honestly, a collective group of guys that all play well together. They feed each other. And, I mean, it can be somebody different every single night. I thought going into the Virginia Tech game, they got a guy by the name of Tyler Nickel over there at Vandy who can really play, and he played at Virginia Tech. So I knew it was going to be one of them get back games where they rally around the guy like, we're not going to let you come home and, lose like that. Same thing for the Lady Vols when playing Florida State. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to happen like that a lot of the time. So, especially the year after. But then the Vols,
man.
Hey, man, I told y'all.
You did. You absolutely did.
I told y'all what that Chancellor Neal kid was going to look like, man, along with the other pieces. See, wake up, Slay.
Oh my God.
We're going to make something up.
That's what I call the.
That's a new Friday schedule.
That's what I call it.
I call that the oh crap alarm.
Oh my
We all have an oh crap alarm of if you sleep through all the other ones, that's way after all the other ones.
That means you got to get on
And
this.
it's so nice and subtle.
That's all I need.
I
Just
love
a little,
it.
just a little nudge, you know what I mean? But you got so many other guys that came into the Vols, man, and I told you I thought this would be a better team when you look at it overall. You know what I mean? DK, special human being, and we're seeing that on the next level.
For sure.
You can't hide talent. With this group, the way they came together so quickly, man, you got to tip the cap to Jemai Meshack, Gainey, Zakai Ziegler, all these guys that are veterans to pull these people in and make them feel like they brothers. And one thing you can't do is fake what they have on the court because it has to be happening off the court with that chemistry in order to go out and play the way they playing.
You know what's funny is Travis turned to me the other day and he goes, Zakai Ziegler's still on that team? And I said, hell yeah.
So I feel about
He
Janai
was like,
Broom and
that's
all
awesome.
that. Both of them have been playing since the
Yes.
80s.
And see, the funny thing about it is, I think Janai is in his 5th or 6th year, but the thing with Zakai came in with a McDonald's All-American ahead of him, where he went and earned the time over Kennedy Chandler, where they had to start splitting time. That wasn't playing. Zakai wasn't supposed to be playing till maybe his second half of his sophomore year, going into his junior year. That man started playing as a freshman, challenging for minutes for a guy that got drafted in the league. Yeah. It's different. So it's good. But Janai Broom, I think, man, regardless of what happened in that Duke-Auburn game, right now, if it stopped, he's National Player of the Year. No ifs, ands, or buts. When you talk about delivering as an All-American, that man delivers. Ever since the second half of that Houston game, he been on fire, dog.
Tennessee deserves to be number one. I hope AP voters don't drop Auburn at all.
Right.
Because going to Duke and losing in the fashion that they did.
That's tough.
And I'll say it, you got to play against the referees as well when you go there, too.
Every single time in camera.
Every single time.
805.
It is that way in every sport at the elite traditional level. You go to Lambeau Field, it's the same thing. You go to
New England.
You go to Arrowhead. You go to Rupp. They're called the Rupperies for a reason.
So, what Nardo call it?
Yeah.
Corrupt arena.
Corrupt arena.
I think you could be looking at Tennessee 1, Auburn 2, at least is the way I would put it right now.
And I thought Auburn should have been number 1. I thought they should have jumped Kansas coming into this week. But shout out to Hunter Dickinson and them. They got a really good team. I just don't think they're as complete as Auburn is. You know what I'm saying? And that's splitting hairs when you talk about top 5 teams. So another thing, man, I had to say, I brought my peace offering today, man, because I don't get to see my homegirl that much, man. So when I see her, you know what I mean, I get excited, you know what I mean? And I just want to hold on and embrace her because I never know when I'm going to see her again. And that's talking about Cheyenne, man. Like, that's my dog, man. Like, when y'all think Bert is a good time. Dog, Cheyenne is a good time, too. Like, she's right there holding her own as well. Sure. Like, she's going out, man, and having a good time. Like, she don't need Bert to be there to have no good time. Like, so, Bert, I extend the olive branch with my smoothie, the peanut butter and jelly suspended smoothie. I hope you accept it.
He needs it too.
Hey, it's hitting.
He needs it.
It's hitting. I accept. I humbly accept.
I bet you do. You don't forgive nobody else quicker than you do Ron Slay.
That's my dog.
That's my dog.
I'm just crying, man.
That's my twin.
Okay, twin.
What up, twin?
We in here twinning.
What up, twin?
Yeah, twin.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, what is wrong with y'all, man? I was speaking about last night, too. The Lady Vols game.
Yep.
I got to get my dose in real quick. But what I'm hoping
is the Keisha question of the morning.
You damn right.
Keisha wants to hear.
I love it. She just hit the Uber right now. You know what I'm saying? Fresh Fridays. We in these streets. All right. With that being said, what I'm hoping, man, I'm big in this because I admire the way girl dads are. They, like, girls always overshadow. Like, I thoroughly now enjoy watching the female game more because it's. I'll be real with you. As of late, I've said, man, I hate the 3.
Yeah.
Because it takes away from so much. And then you throw the ball around the perimeter. And then, like, games where it's supposed to be closer, the 3 just opens it up.
Yeah.
But in that, what I'm saying is this. The optics on the game. And I'm hoping for Pat Summitt court. That what a girl from the Sparks was on the sideline.
Ray Burrell.
Ray Burrell.
Keisha gonna kill me for not knowing her name like
Raquel
that.
was there too.
Raquel was there.
I don't know why they saw her. Yeah, she was there too.
But the way Ray Burrell was fashionable on that sideline, the way she was up on her VFL.
Man.
I'm hoping, I'm going to be real with y'all. I ain't Hollywooding at all, but as many doggone Vols as in L.A.,
there you go.
Bring that to Knoxville.
There you go.
Because she made being courtside in Knoxville look like the
Or she could be like a fashion like a model or whatever. That girl's
she made that look cool as hell, Dre.
Yeah, no, that's
you
how it's supposed
better bring
to
the
be.
minks out.
Yeah, when you come to the summit and you look up there, man, and you got all of those banners, and I'm not talking about the banners from the national championships, but the retired jerseys.
For sure.
That's the creme de la creme when you start talking about the women's game. To pull back the curtain a little bit, when I was doing SEC, so Wednesday, the men's game didn't come on till like 9:30 Eastern time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, man, I asked my guy, J-Mac, like, what time, the producer, like, what time I need to be in? He was like, why don't you come in at 5? I was like, yeah, that's the women's game. He was like, yeah, you can you do that? I said, man, listen here. One thing about is the lights gonna be on? Yeah, hell yeah, I can do it. But I was telling them too though when I came in, like, dog, I'm not this new wave that came in from now all of a sudden it's a women's game explosion. Like, I love the women's game. Like, when I sent, as soon as I sit down with Nikki, who used to be Caldwell, now Nikki Fargas.
Nikki Fargas.
Okay. Lady Vol legend, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking a picture. I said, hey, man, send us the big key, man. You know what I mean? Because I know, you know what I mean? Like, you got to know the history. You understand? Especially when you start talking about Lady Vols. But outside of that, the game in general, I'm like, hell yeah, put me on. I want to talk. I like to watch the women's game. Y'all not doing me a favor, but like I'm with this, you know. So it was real cool to be able to cross over, you know, and talk some women's sports along with, the men's game. And I think, man, now at this point, as far as notoriety and anything, you just look at it as college basketball. It don't need to be
right.
It's not women's college basketball. It's not men's. It's college basketball in general. You know what I mean?
In terms of the TV ratings and attention, too, I think so many times we think in this country about football, basketball, baseball. Women's basketball is the third sport in college athletics. There's no question about it. I mean, when some of those Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese games were outrating men's tournament games over the past couple of years. Like that is the third major sport now in college sports.
Yeah, and then it's going to continue to grow like that. You know what I mean? We were thinking like, man, who's going to be that next attraction? Now, it may not be to the level of Caitlin Clark, but when you look at Paige Beckers, man, Paige Beckers got her own shoe. You look out there on the West Coast, man, Juju Watkins, like I was talking about this last year, and before she was getting ready to come into school on this show, like she got her own shoe. Like it's,
UCLA now too.
Yeah, UCLA, like it's, hey man, it's widespread and it's stars all amongst them, and they have some top-notch coaches as well to go with it. So
personalities, like they actually bring people to the game with who they are as people, and the polarizing sometimes coaches they have.
Absolutely,
they've won the SEC in terms of women's. They've won a national championship, right?
Yes, they have.
And Greg Sankey's made it clear that he wants the men to be in that mix. And do you feel like this is the group of SEC teams that can make that happen?
It better be. And the reason I say that's why I went out there on the limb and was like, man, when you look at it from top to bottom, they asked me, what did I take away from this SEC ACC challenge? One, bragging rights. Two, when you look at it top to bottom, not only is the talent there with the players, it's right there rivaling it as with the coaches. I mean, when you talk about newcomers that come in, Todd Golden, what he's got coming on, he's only in his third year and has one of the best teams since the Noah, Corey Brewer, that mob right there in Florida. Like, he got something special down there.
He kept his job.
You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, and they knew about it. He got a contract extension before that, Savage. He got a contract extension in the SEC tournament going into that. So
I'm covering my eyes.
Open it up and look at that bank account. That's there. You know what I mean? 10 toes down. So you got Chris Beard at Ole Miss, Byington coming in with his way. Yeah. And then you got the old heads, the OGs, when you talk about Cal, Rick Barnes, the list goes on. So, I mean, why would it not? And you look and you see, I think, honestly, it's going to be 10 in the league. I mean, in the NCAA tournament.
Man.
And I think 11 could be pushing it. The only thing that would mess it up is what you got going on in the college football playoffs.
Sure.
Them, beating up on each other. But those losses will be quality losses because there's going to be so many of them ranked in the top 25 where it shouldn't hinder it. So this is the year. This is the year.
South Carolina going to shock anybody again or sneak up, or was that just like he hit a wave?
No, I think they're going to be right there in the middle of the pack.
Right.
I think when you look at it, it's going to be Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee,
Arkansas.
Now, you know what? Arkansas, this is my thing.
That's the only reason I'm bringing them up.
No, and that's the only reason I'm not going to put them in there because nothing's really changed. Like, the talent is there. Will they gel? Soon to be, but they still don't have that real outside shooting yet to get them over them. Like what they had with Reed Shepard and Dillingham, who had to come off the bench. You know what I mean? So
we have an interruption here, guys. We have a very special guest who's joined us. He goes by the name of Jacoby.
Jacoby's here.
Jacoby, what's up?
Jacoby, Josiah, Justine, whatever you want to call me.
What's going on?
I'm a man of many names, but only one voice.
It's Shay.
Well, it's good to hear you, Jethro.
What up, dude?
Jebediah.
In the world.
Oh, that made my Christmas.
What's going on?
Hey, I was asked to call in. Bert said, "Hey, you want to call in?" I went, "All right." Well, I mean, I'm working, but sure, I can step away.
You know what our breaks are. Come on, let's hear it. What do you got for us?
Well, first of all, if people don't know, we had a corporate Christmas party last night.
We did.
So we got to see everybody. For me, it was great because I had my blended family. I had my Big D and Bubba family and my Zone family. So it was 2 Christmases for me. I loved it. I got all the gifts. That was awesome. What was also fun last night was we played Coach Mac's theme song and Ron Slay dedicated it to Coach Mack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outstanding. And what was also funny to me was Ramon and Ron wore the same color clothing as if they didn't call each other before to be like, hey, man, we can't be matching.
They did it again today, Shay.
Like, I'm telling you, dog.
Yeah, they
They're both
did.
in red.
They're in red.
Y'all.
Dude, we ain't even trying to do this, Shape. That's the craziest
Hey,
thing.
what you wearing today? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I wish I would call another man and ask him what he
All right, Shafe, leave the people with some wisdom. We got to get out of here.
Vols by
Nice. Thank you, Joaquin.
Speaking of which,
there is Jahan.
we gotta ask
Schaefer.
the coldest dude over here to my left about a flex he pulled yesterday.
Do we? Okay, well, let's do it after the break.
We'll do it after the break.
We really appreciate Jamar joining us this morning. We'll wrap up the show. Toyota Keys in the game coming up next. RKW ramping up the show on a football Friday with keys to the game. Brought to you by your Middle Tennessee Toyota dealers, where you'll find more all-wheel drive and electrified hybrid vehicles than anywhere else. Come in for a test drive today. Toyota, let's go places. Ramon Foster, your key to a Titans win on Sunday, please.
Man, treat him as such. If you got a backup in, make him be the make him look like the backup. A challenge has been issued to a challenge has been issued to the D-line. It has to start right there for them to go get a dub. And that means making Mac Jones very, very, very uncomfortable.
Please do.
Yep, that's mine.
I like it. Kayla, your key?
Yeah, I feel like with a defense that couldn't stop the run last week, you always got to stop the run. So you got to bounce back with that, because you're right. It's not like Mac Jones is something that's going to be running around. You don't have to worry as much about it. So stop the run first and foremost.
I like it. Ron Slay, you guys had David Sanders on the program yesterday.
Yeah, man.
New Tennessee tackle. Great get by you guys, first of all. So shout out to y'all for making that happen. Hit the 3HL podcast feed if you've not yet heard it. What'd you take away from that interview? That kid is so mature for his age as an athlete.
Bab said SEC Network called you.
They did.
No kidding. Look at that.
You right.
They did.
They
do what you want to do. You're being very humble.
I'm gonna tell you what.
Your reps.
We were doing our show and we just went to break, and I got a call from the SEC Network, and I'm like, I really ain't trying to go back up by this weekend. So
we got plans.
We got plans. I ain't even thinking about answering this phone, but I was like, you know what? Let me just go on and answer it. So I answered it, and my guy G3 man was like, hey man, you see who just committed? I was like, no, what happened? He was like, David Sanders just committed on the Feinbaum show. I was like, oh man, that's dope, man. That's what's up. He was like, well, I'm right here with him and his mom, man. You want to get him on? I was like, hell yeah, we want to get him on.
That's awesome.
He was like, send me the information. And it was like, man, we'll call as soon as we get in the car. So, hey,
That's great, man.
I love it.
Networking and relationships. That's all it's about.
Y'all both talk to him now.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they had him FaceTime Ramon on his official visit. Just from one great Tennessee offensive lineman to another.
Hey, when you work the network right and you stay in the family, man, those are the things that come with it. Sometimes it's cool. Just be cool and ride in the passenger seat for a little while.
Sometimes just be there, man.
Just
Yep.
be there.
Absolutely.
Your big dog got a shout out on national radio this morning.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, they played a clip of his voice and everything.
My old job.
Was that from the yesterday's show?
Yeah, it was.
Everything
They clipped it
From our show?
from our show. Yeah.
Nice.
How long? Never mind. I ain't gonna discuss it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's good. It's cool.
He sounded good though.
Yeah. My dog always gonna sound good, man. My dog know what to do.
Straight to the point, you know?
ProFootballTalk.com probably hear what he said.
Speaking of which, Chris last night, man.
You talking about somebody at the ball?
Yeah, Chris, your wife, man. She hit me with last night. She's like, I need to see Moan. You always button up. I'm like, I ain't always button up. Like, you can see me.
Yeah.
I just told us like we gotta get a couple strips of Vegas.
We need to
because I don't believe in like showing my behind and like the city that I work in.
I'm with you.
And you know me too. I told her like I'm a little bougie and I like to have my section.
53.
Have my bottles and if I'm gonna turn up, you don't need your cameras around me.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Is it Vegas sound like it's it?
That might be.
I love it. You got Georgia or Texas this weekend?
Man, it's tough. It was a crazy stat that one of the guys in the studio told me, and I know I'm gonna get it wrong, but I think it's been 7 times that the team that's won early in the year has come back to beat the same team twice and be in the championship game. So I'm gonna have to go with Texas just because of the numbers on this, and I ain't no number guy.
But
That's my big one too with that.
And I mean, I think that speed and everything. Sark is a scientist. You know what I'm saying when it comes to hiding things and reading the defense. So I don't trust Quinn Ewers that much, but I trust Sark in this one. So I'm gonna go with Texas.
Okay.
The way people want me to feel about Lane, I actually feel it about Sarkisian.
There you go. And he don't force it.
Yeah.
It's just this is what it is.
His team's lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
Unlike Lane
for
Kiffin's.
real, Will.
I love it. That is the show, and that is another good week here on the program. Slay, thank you. Good to see you.
Man, no doubt, man. Thanks for having me.
Anywhere tonight?
Television sets.
Right here.
Y'all in the studio.
Right
There we go.
And that door opens a lot wider for you.
Yes, it does. Warn everyone because bats will literally fly through.
Shoulder push and
She will
everything.
fly through.
Enjoy your football weekend. Enjoy the conference championship games and enjoy the Buck Rising show that is coming up for you next.
Big Buck out here, man. Hey, y'all know how it is, man. We do on Fridays. Call somebody you ain't talked to in a while, man. Buy somebody a random drink. Have a random conversation, y'all. In the climate we live in, man, ELE. Everybody love everybody, all right? But remember, as I found out this week, your Twitter fingers, your mic always high.